get the scripts and you already know how to share screen and
if I
all.
go off the mic, is because I don't like to smoke on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, same thing. If I
turn my camera off real quick because I'm probably smoking herb or you know what I mean. So
we're about to rock in.
Okay, I'm gonna All right, I'm gonna turn my mic. Turn my mic and my camera off for a moment until you get ready and introduce and everything.
Yeah. Well, yes. Tell me when we. All right. Shalom, Habarim, shalom. This is Yad and this is Rastafari Adonis Tafari right here. As you can see, StreamYard sold out. That's what's going on. StreamYard has changed up. The platform has changed up. So we're a little bit delayed right here, due to that and some technicals, some technical difficulties, with the usual podcast. But one thing we've been seeking to do is to bring on the Habarim, the brothers, and the sisters as well, to the reason, some things we'll have as a set topic, a reason, an agenda, or it might be like this, just to break bread and just a reason. So here I got Zion War Child. Yes, Zion War Child right here. Champion of the debate. Bring that out for the people a little bit here.
So man. So more time. You'll see me on the debate platforms. I'm a debater. I'm saying theological debater. You'll see me on Sonetta, on Lions Den, on Source Debate League, Paradigm Shift. Information Age, and some of these other platforms. I'm a debater. I'm one of the only Rastafari, because Rastafari, and I really power with them things there.
Nah, they gotta get the scripture.
Man. So I'm like one of the only ones who want spar. And get in there and you can find some of my work. I actually debated at an ISUPK camp. Against one of the captains of a chapter here in Syracuse. You can find that on Cross the Line Radio. Shout out to Cesariak and Captain Azania. Captain Chatazar. I'm out here. I'm on.
Oh yeah, and also your channel, man. Let me just do this right here. Yes, sir. Rastafari. Yeah, man. For real, we have to encourage one another. Cause one thing about the Rasta man of the tribe gone forward. They say, I don't say bygone, but those who tried it before I and I. That many of them used to write books, man. I was selling some of the old books. They would print up their own books. You know what I mean? Print their own books and print it out. But today we have ability to print our own books and do it kind of professional But them man were so diligent about them ideas, them reason, their meditation, their revelation. And there's still a lot of them old book. I remember there was a Prince Nazai. I don't know if ones and ones, some of the generation X, Y, Z may not really. Well, X probably know them. Y might, a few of them know them, but Generation Z don't know them. But they need to know them.
Yes, sir.
I get to find that their words still resonate. Yeah, man, come in.
Did you remember a brethren named ESP McPherson? He wrote quite a few texts, and was publishing them. I mean, at that time, I think it was like 1990s, late 1990s, early 2000s, that I ran across some of his historical works, concerning the Rastafari movement and His Imperial Majesty. I'm not sure if you ever heard of him before, ESP McPherson.
Yeah. Of course I have.
Yeah, man. I would love to, I pass out books all throughout the years, and I never get my books.
I got this book here. I don't know if you can see this book.
Yes, I.
This book here is a book I was going to share. Oh, hail up to Honorable Priest Isaac.
Bless up Isaac. Yes, I've been following him too. Yes, sir.
and the Rasta Round Table, the Brothers of the Round Table as well, because there was a topic. I think we might revisit it on the Priest Isaac platform, and it was about African spirituality. And it's interesting because this particular book here is called From the quote Black Churches, a historiographic taxonomy of religions in Jamaica, book one. And I find this book to be interesting because there's a lot here, but let me just share one particular quote right here. Because the mind them, a lot of time it's like either the Bible or between like the Bible or like a Judeo-Christian perspective and African spirituality. And I might see it a little different. I see that if we look at the true biblical Hebrew and the Israelite tribe, it's basically also a African spiritual tradition. You know what I mean? It's African spiritual tradition. But what happens is that we think in this kind of post-traumatic slave experience, we kind of divide it. So that's why I was going to bring this book to their attention, because here it says in Zion, like I'm going to just give you a little quote. I have like a little, I don't know if this can be seen. No, it can't really be seen, but there's a little.
I see it. I can't really read it, but yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it will. Okay.
Yeah, no, the close, it's going to disappear with the.
If I make a scan of this or take a picture of it and share, it says in Zion, right? It's comparing like two different kind of traditions among Afro-Semitic and Afro-Jamaican and Afro, we could say even American people, where it says in Zion, spirits usually do not reside at the ground because the Zion pantheon gives far less recognition to human spirits and more to the heavenly or biblical host. And it says page 6p as verses Zion deal with ground spirits constantly. These are considered evil by Zion cult. So he's kind of trying to break down why there was a difference between, the maybe Judeo-Christian, or the Judeo-Christian, Black Judeo-Christian spirituality that focused on Zion. I was watching this movie, and heal up to Ross Seymour if I want to come in this as well. Make I and I know to Ross Seymour, and we was watching this Bass Reeves. It's a series out there about the first Black Marshal, U.S. Federal Marshal. The first Black U.S. Federal Marshal, and there was a scene up in there concerning what was it about? Oh, when the Blacks were coming out of the Civil War kind of thing. And so a lot of the Blacks were speaking about Zion as like a promised land. Like we're going to Zion. In some traditions, that was Kansas, getting beyond, the eastern colonies, you know what I mean? And Kansas was a sort of a free place because there were some places in America where Black people, if they reached there, they were white people, but it was a whole different vibe than in the South. You know what I mean? The black white thing in the South was like a kind of a exploitation, enslavement, profiteering business for the whites and down oppression for the Blacks. You know what I mean? That's what led to the whole, you could say, well, that's not what led to the Civil War, but that was what powered the Civil War. You know what I mean? That's what powered the Civil War. In the sense of they didn't really do it to free us, but he recognized that in order to impoverish and hit economically their brothers, the whites in the South, they had to, you know what I mean? They had to look at like, what is their fuel? What's their energy? The energy was their money. That's why they wanted the CSA. People forget about the CSA. CSA, the Confederate States of America. These were the USA. But if they had won, it would have been the CSA. You know what I mean? So it wasn't really about us directly.
No.
We became part of the tool for them to win.
Yes, I.
Yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm on. And I had to write papers on this, actually. You know what I'm saying?
Remember that.
I had to write a paper on the Reconstruction era, which was going into the industrial age of the American. And this is one of the reasons why African Americans, you know what I'm saying, they wanted to place them into the workforce for a lot of the industrial, you know what I'm saying, complexes that they were beginning to start. You know what I'm saying? So they were shifting from agriculture into modernization and industrialization of the country. And so the cheaper the hand, you know what I'm saying, the more
the profit.
the more profit.
The
You
more the
understand what I'm
profit.
saying? So
Truly,
yeah,
truly,
that's
truly.
that's really why Lincoln had established the emancipation. It had nothing to do with any form of ethics or moral compass. It was all about the dollar bill.
It's all about the dollar bill. Like
Yes,
they say,
I.
follow the money. So
Yeah,
it was the economic. So we were
that's
part
right.
of the economic
That's right.
of it. You know what I mean? The
Yep.
problem
Yep.
was that whenever we
Still a
sought
workhorse. Yep. The
exactly
workhorse.
when we sought to profit off of that ourselves, it was something that was you know, a danger to the system of things. You know what I mean? A danger to the system of things because for us to be as independent as we thought we could become
Ken.
would mean that we would be in competition
Yes, I.
with the ones who was going to use us to big up
Mm-hmm.
themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They was going to use us to big up themselves. So
Right.
definitely,
Right.
man, definitely. But yeah, man, ESP McPherson, man. I think as a
Yeah.
project, we need to, you know, I don't know if there's a list of all his published
Oh
work,
man, he has so many great works, man. I mean,
but we need to
the
list it.
scholarship. Yeah, the scholarship. You know what I'm saying is all there. I loved his work. That's probably one of my earliest introductions to that kind of collegiate form of writing. You know what I'm saying? He had annotated bibliographies in the back, you know what I'm saying,
Mm-hmm.
references, sources, citations, the whole nine, you know.
His
Um,
scholarship was on another level.
yes,
His scholarship was
absolutely. So big shout out if anybody knows that brother.
of his works.
Yeah, he shaped a lot of my understanding of
I,
Rastafari.
I think we, as those who really recognize the importance of that teacher, you know, the importance of that brother, I think what we need to do is that we need to preserve that work by starting to make a list or bibliography of his works. You can see
Yes,
on the
I.
screen.
Yes, I definitely need that.
Give thanks
Yeah.
to Sister T, Sister
Yes, I.
Mimi, you know, for bringing that up right there because
Yes, I.
you can see some of the books right there. You know,
Yeah,
McPherson. Some of his
yeah.
books are available, but I know there are partial lists of his printed works. So
Yes, I.
if we can identify what works he has done, I mean,
Yo,
there's so many.
when I had some of his works, they were in paperback form, and they looked kind of like pamphlets, but they were thick. You know what I'm saying? They were, about a quarter, like a half an inch thick, but they were all pamphlet form, and it was like all white page. There was no artwork on them, and
You still got any of them?
yeah, no, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't have any of them anymore.
Yeah, it would be really, really good
Yes,
to anybody who has them, let's scan them. But anybody who have any lists, I think, you know, just hit us up either lojs.org, you know, as well as brother. Yeah, put the eyes. I don't know if you put your handle on there, like you know, your link. If there's a link for ones to link with the eye, you know what I mean?
come on, Rasta and
Or
Resistance. That was a great book. I had that as well. And then the itations. I have to get all three itations just for my son. He's really starting to get really fully interested now that he's growing his locks on ting. So he's paying more attention to the itations, and he's in a lot of my debates and stuff. So he's getting the scriptural context. He listens to a lot, because I listen to a lot of LOJ. You know what I'm saying? Daily Torah portions and psalm readings. So yeah, so
yeah, we need to touch on that too, man. Touch on that.
he's watering, he's getting watered, you know what I'm saying, indirectly, but he's paying attention, and so
There's
we have to do that with our children. Yeah,
a few sites that I'll recommend. In fact, if you can pull up today, this week, Torah portion, the 40th, and put it up there, you know, from LOJ. Yeah, let's see if we can get the LOJ, the Torah portion here, you know, because there are others who are interested, and sometimes we just go through, you know, the readings and feedings and the Torah. Like even today's Psalm is Psalm 86. I don't know if Psalm 82. Psalm 82.
I got my
Let me
scripture.
bring up.
Yes.
Okay,
Psalms
okay.
82.
We got Emmanuel. We're gonna add Emmanuel to the stage right here. Okay, we're gonna open the mic. Greetings, greetings, greetings. See, can't unmute because the guest chose. Okay, okay, you're unmuted.
Friends,
Greetings.
yeah, Rastafari. This is such a breath of fresh air. Y'all don't know Nubi and me, Emmanuel, your sister. Remy, I've been taking a hit. I've been taking a hit. Maybe I got a D or C on the like the LOJ, like, exit. Like, we never exit. We're always studying. But yo, I've been
Yeah,
doing my night study. I've been doing my footwork on the patrolling on these streets over here on YT.
on the
Q
website.
Butter and the Covenant
The close
Awakening.
portion.
It is so. Can you hear me? It is so refreshing because y'all, Brethren, I already told the story, man. The Most High saved Logical, Game Man Play, bruh. Saved us from the fire of Oroville, friend.
Mm,
And I thank
mm,
the
mm.
Most High for the teaching.
Testify,
Yeah,
testify, testify,
bruh.
testify.
Ah,
See, that's because
testify. Can we get the sound
I
effect?
don't know if I have that audible, man, because
Ah.
I don't know if I have that because who these people call StreamYard, they sold out, man. They sold
Uh,
out. They sold out, so we don't have all our audible, so we just do this.
it's okay. We acapella it.
Crash and glide.
Ah, testify. So I just gave the Most High. Okay. So long story short, I'm gonna just take that just a little bit, but I'm just gonna say what I've been dealing with. I've been feeling like Yeshua in these streets. They've been beating me up, and Covenant Awakenings. Big shout out to you, bum. Anyway, big shout out to you. And I say y'all bum, but you just came on the scene. And,
What? Who you talking
uh,
about? Who you talking
in
about?
a
Who you
venue.
talking about? No, 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 no. Who you talking
Covenant
about? We're not,
Awakening. Do me a
huh?
favor. This morning I was on Covenant Awakening, and I
Hmm. Can't hear you. Can't hear you.
oh, you can't. I'm walking too
Okay, I
much.
can hear you now. Okay, hear you now. I
Okay.
hear you now.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'm in Calexico with our brethren Alonso and the family. So that's saved I. So I mean, if I can give the story, man, but I just gotta say one story. First of all, I gotta say, thank you, Rabboni. Thank you, Rabbi, for just being who you are, just for teaching us and being patient. Just like I gotta show the face. Just for just being who you are. Just man, praise the most high. Just that we put in the work that you put in the work so long ago that some of us, were gardening, and just like like building up these skills, even though some of us fell off and we got a little mix up, start eating some food that gave us spiritual digestion. You know what I'm saying? But like I've just been in these streets like in the last couple of years, just kind of like reasoning with the just awakened Hebrew Israelites who think they're Judah all of a sudden. Like what? But they like the whole like I ain't gonna drop no names, Mateo and all them cats. It's cool because sometimes I send them information. Sometimes me and Alonso be on the for the years, been on the conversation with them. Like they'll see certain things, but they're like, yeah, but and then it's like, okay, okay, we're not doing deductive reasoning here, guys. All right, I get it. Y'all are new on the shift. You haven't really read the whole manual. And when, like this morning, I had to check them, and I'm gonna send you that video. This morning, I had to check them because I was just talking about how the Most High blessed, but also it's judgment. It's judgment in that area because the last living man, the last living indigenous person was Ishi, right? His name was Ishi because there was nobody to name him, so his name was just man, and he was the last living person of the Ya'i tribe. I always tell people if you're dyslexic, it's Aya. You know what I'm saying? Over there in the Butte County, right? Whatever. And that Oroville used to be called Ophir. Anyway, but I was just telling them, oh, that's kind of interesting, right? Because Isha, it's Hebrew. Oh well, Japheth killing Japheth and blah blah blah. I'm like, excuse me, all right, okay, I got it, all right, I hear you. I'm trying to reason, trying to be like, yeah, but okay, what about this? What about that? Yo, brethren got all like major defensive. Like, I'm gonna send you, Rebbe, to show me if I got the A B and where I went wrong in the communication, where it went left. And I tried to be like as courteous as an ambassador of His Majesty, as ambassador of this royal house. Like, all right. You know, like, all right, you throwing stones and stuff. All right. Then they're like, oh, we ain't on the 12 tribes chart. I'm like, oh, no, no, no. I am definitely not on the 12 tribes chart. They'd be idiotic to even go there. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to reason with these brethren, and they just woken up. They getting the cuckoo caca out their eye, and they just like, you know, moaning around talking yet, and they telling everybody who Judah, who ain't Judah, and all of a sudden they Judah, and they can tell us who Japheth, and like the Most High didn't have other people over here, like they didn't read. And then what I did, I did check them. I said, well, you know what? Because I mentioned to them how California is connected to the Covenant of Gas, but I'm like, yo, I'm not even gonna go there because you know where you know who I am. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, oh different the books and this, that, and the third, and I'm like, well, you know, back in the day when I mentioned the Apocrypha, y'all was like, yo, 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 Emmanuel. And now y'all all over the Apocrypha, right? Okay, so let me just, let me just hold back. So, it's just like these people be ego checking. They be tripping. And the thing that's so crazy is I have more, like the other day, like the last couple of days, I've been like, going off in like the stoop, on the stoop, internet stoop, YouTube stoop with Q Butter and all kind of brothers, you know what I'm saying? Been disrespected. And then when I got rowdy and started cursing some people out the show that I'm really from Brooklyn and Haitian Brooklyn, then they're like, oh, yo, shorty, you so hard. Shut the fuck up. Excuse my
Hey,
French.
hey. No,
I'm
no,
No
sorry.
no
cursing.
F-bombs.
No profanity.
Yeah, too early for no
Shut the
F-bombs.
fuck
Yeah, no
up. Shut the
profanity on YouTube, you know?
fuck.
Yeah,
Pardon.
You don't want to get flagged.
Shut the yucky up. Shut the ucky up. Shut it up. Shut it up. I am so sorry, man.
You know what you gotta do. You know what you gotta do. Here's what you gotta do.
Yeah,
You
man.
gotta.
Fireball.
That's what you gotta do.
Fireball, the woolly
That's what you gotta do right
Put the
there.
bumble rascal there. Where I shot on ya?
You gotta bun them.
Yeah,
You know
but
what I
burn
mean?
them
But
out.
nah,
Yeah, keep them in the rear view mirrors, my
More
sister.
fire.
Keep
You
them
see
in the
me?
and
rear view mirror.
I gotta give thanks to Most High, the Ruach Hakodesh, Yahweh Elohim, Yeshua Hamashiach, our brethren. Just keep me strengthened up in the ring. You know what I'm saying? Because you trained I and I. So anywho, so here it is. Hear the prophecy that not prophecy, pardon. Hear what happened, the testimony. Man, first of all, we supposed to be doing some stuff with New Mexicali IT. Haiti's right here across the way as we're speaking in Mexicali, right across the way. In 2017, the Most High already put in 99 heart to go over there and go reason with the brethren and sister in Mexicali and tell them, don't be trying to come up over here to the U.S. Y'all are gonna go straight to jail. Long story short, like I went over there with Alonso, and here I am, like Haitian American, speaking all kind of broken Creole mixed with English and French. Don't know what I'm talking about. Like I'm trying to tell them, like, yo, ou comprend parler they let's go, and they're looking at me like puzzled. And our brother Alonso, he's just like looking at the scene, like, okay, this is hilarious. But let me just ask, habla español? And they're like, claro. So basically, brother Alonso was able to be like, look, here's the deal. You just need to be plugged in here in Mexicali, get your papers, create your community, do what you got to do, make it happen. Don't try. If you're gonna come to the U.S., get the papers here. Do what the people are doing here. Get the papers and work over there, and come back home, and you make a good life. Long story short, from 2017 to 2020. 2023, Haitians are doing pretty okay over there as opposed to what's happening in Tijuana, where they're disenfranchised. You feel me? Not saying that they're not dealing with South American problems, you know what I'm saying? Sociological problems, because the whole history with them traveling from Brazil to South America to Mexico was pretty treacherous, and our South American brothers were not very kind, to say the least. You know what I'm saying? There was a lot of graping and a lot of stealing, and just really just victimizing our Haitian brothers and sisters. Anywho, anyway, for all these years, I'm like, oh yeah, we got to go over there. We got to do this, that, the third. We got to start a little third center, Logical. Father's like, yo, empty out what you got. Just give it up. Just give to the poor. Just set it up. Like he was like, rich ruler, 1818. All right, yeah. So I'm like all gung ho, but you know how sometimes you get into a project and your team, you're like, yo, we're gonna do this, and they're like, yeah, okay. Everybody's like, yo, not Emmanuel again. She at it again. You know what I mean? We just want to sleep, you know what I mean? Or whatever, because I keep them busy anyways. Over here, Logical, game and play. We just say it all day. Praise the Most High Jah, Rastafari. So, anywho, I just been putting it off, and the Most High just like, I was like, oh yeah, humming and humming. And this year I was like, okay, well, we're going to put it in a storage and this, that. Somebody had provided us a storage to put the stuff there. And of course, you just kind of linger and linger and the days go by and, time just happens, right? It ain't moving. Yo, the fire kicked off. It was, first of all, fire. It was strike 1, 2, and 3, and then it was a home run. Like, there was like mad warnings. Like, one fire, a little fire, vegetation fire. Okay. All right. Second fire, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, Apache fire. Okay, that's kind of close to home. That's real close to home. What? It ain't come down. We have friends over there in the Palermo area. Oh my goodness. I even called some people like, yo, they had horses, they had everything. A brother man, he was like, I'm staying put. I'm like, whoosh, yeesh. You know what I mean? Like, all right. So, some people just got to brave it out. Ooh. And then another one started a long bar fire. Boom. They're like trying to squash it out, But the Most High, thank goodness, had already got us prepared a couple years ago to get that fire. For everybody who's in the fire areas, y'all, get your fire boxes. Know what's important. Have your papers at the door. Get your photos. Whatever's important. Just have the fire box. Don't care about clothes. If something happened, you can always find clothes. You can find toothpaste. You can find toothbrush. You can find anything at Walmart. Just get the most important thing and keep your papers in a fire safe box. And just keep it like close to the door. If you live in a really high whatever environment, fire, water, snow, sleet, whatever, it's judgment time. So anywho, but yo, our neighbors in the 1, 2, 3 fires, base 1, 2, and 3, yo, she was just like, our new neighbors was like, yo, there's a fire there. It's like, that story about the boy that cries wolf, right? Oh, she was crying fire. And we were like, all like, and the crazy thing, we had such a busy schedule in July. Like, everything was scheduled like this, that, boom, 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 boom. And praise the Most High. Because sometimes you ask for certain things, but you're not positioned really yet to like handle all that, right? The ministry that the Most High gives you. But then when he starts giving you the ministry and stuff to do, you gotta really be in balance, because sometimes you be like, you on some ego trip and you're like really not. You left. You going left.
Amen. But here's the thing. Y'all got you through it. And
one last thing. Not only did he get me through it, he knew my heart. Every time I looked at my schedule, my heart was like palpitating, like, oh man, this is July looking crazy. I would take a breathe. I would like, Alonso would be like, yo, that looks like some anxiety. I'm like, yeah. I was like, vacation, vacate. Yo, nah. John was like, vacate Zion, fire now, go. And it's from the blessed, the most thing. Praise.
Get out of there.
Get out of there. Out of there like the ballpark. Boom. And again, the whole judgment. And even remember, that is the place that I was summoned to in 2012. When you and Sister Salama Week thought I was just losing my ever-living mind in Passover. Like, nope, that's where the Most High brought me. And I thought I was losing my mind. I thought I was being abducted. Let me be real. I thought I was going to get abducted. I was like, what? In my own space, as I was riding, wherever the Most High was said to go, like, to this day, I joke around and be like, yeah, once I went over that bridge, that green bridge, around that same area that stuff was burning, yo, it was like a whole nother vortex. It was Rastafaris, okay? I was like, what is going on? And so Jah has brought us here, and we give thanks. But I would not be here planted without 2009 listening to you while I was going through my 4th child breastfeeding kind of depression, not even understanding, knowing that, oh my God, the world is ending. I'm seeing all these crazy videos. Oh my God. Oh, the Muslim videos, remember those back in the day, those Muslim videos, they were on point. But yo, that was scary. They were talking about Magdi and stuff.
Yeah. You talking about the beheadings and stuff? You talking about the beheadings?
Nah, it was like those
videos?
Remember those series back in the day in 2009? It was like this whole like series of Muslim videos. They were talking about the coming of the Magdi and like how to eat.
Okay, we're not.
Oh,
I don't even have no fireball. I don't have no fireball. There you go. Yeah, that's Army Gideon. Army Gideon right there.
All right. if it wasn't for Yadon, if it wasn't for Yadon,
Yeah,
if it wasn't for
yeah, did it. Father did it.
Yes,
Father did
of
it for
course,
the
it was
island.
for
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
But no,
Most high
I
job.
gotta
You know what
give,
I'm saying?
nah, I gotta
No,
let me just take it back.
Right.
Of
Get
course.
through this and thanks
I
But
didn't
let me
see
take
you
it
doing
back.
love, my
Yes,
sister.
I.
Let I take it. Let I and I take it real back. If it
Go
wasn't
ahead,
for
sister.
if it wasn't for I and I alumni brethren from UNM
Yeah, man.
who found Rastafari, and you know, who was my medicine man. If it wasn't for Elijah Tafari when I
Come
came
on,
to get my
testify.
medicine,
Come
and
on.
I was listening, and I was like, "Who that there? Who
Who
you
that there?
listening to? Who is that voice?" Like, this is guy. And you know, he's good. I don't really agree with everything he said. He's good, but he didn't drop a name. I was like, oh, that's
You have to
interesting.
catch up
I
on
was like,
that.
what's the
You gotta
name?
You
catch
talking
up
about
on
like
that.
Rocky? You talking about Rocky? That brethren?
I was like, no, I heard the guy. I heard the voice. I heard that voice. I heard that Yah voice. I was like, who that? You know, waiting for my measurements. You know, who did? Who that is that you listen to? Oh, well, we were in 2009. A lot of us was very
She's going way back. She's going way back. That's going way back.
Yeah.
Back bro, when we started getting our shift, when we got our apron, when we came into the Highway Mart. You know what I'm saying? Highway. So I said, yes, always. No, it ain't. But you gonna count. You gonna count, and you gonna be counted in. You know what I'm saying?
We are highly favored. You see me?
I didn't get that voice. I didn't hear that voice.
Highly favored. Highly favored.
Highly favored. I didn't hear that voice until in December, January. One of my mentors passed away. You know, one of those good mentors, those collegiate mentors, them sisters that was trying to tell you, yo, you are that black person. Get up out of that Bible. But you know, they're academic, and you kind of respect that. But they're like, you know, they kind of be like, oh, you know, Shango, let's go back to the old ways. You big up Maisha Baton. You were a great mentor. How, you know, she taught me, gave me some stability, so it all kind of pieced itself together once, like, I kind of like she passed, and then I was like, what's going on, like, and when I did a poem for her obituary, I just realized everything with my life was a reflection of her. That's why it's good to have like ones that you can, you know, it was like she passed the baton of how to express, educate, poetry, and deductive reasoning, and just real good, just phenomenal.
Fellowship. Fellowship is.
But she was trying to tell me you are that. Yes, you would. Get up out of that white Jesus thing. But okay, I love you though. But okay.
That's how Rasta is there for. You know what I'm saying? To bring back all things to remembrance, as it says in Isaiah chapter 11, verses 10 through 12. You know what I'm saying? And then you got John chapter 14, John chapter 16, where Christ says he would send this comforter to bring back all things to our remembrance. You see me?
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
You just brought back to remember that, you know, again, I got to give thanks to the New Mexico Rastafarites who, again, they were from a Gentile order or whatever we'd say, but they still like held the ites, you know what I mean? So you can like look, and as I was like searching as I was getting out of it. But prior to that, I remember when I was in college and was like not even thinking Rastafari, but I was going to that reggae concert. Like, I don't know. I love the reggae music. Mom had me on reggae music, but I was like, you know what I'm saying, interviewing the artists, but you know, doing that thing. You know what I'm saying? But not really like in it. It's like, I just like the music. You know, Steel Pulse, I grew up on it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
got you.
In the outer court. I was in the outer courts.
Outer courts. Come on. You preaching.
And then you come in, like, whoa. So anyway, so I just got to give it up. And then I found the voice. And out of that crazy scare tactic, it was like, solace. And I think in 2011 or 2010, I think at 2010, I think I tracked the brethren down in New York. Wow. I tracked that brother. I was like stalking, bro.
Yeah. Like, yo, I'm gonna pull up when I come back to Long Island. I'm coming to see the rabbi. You know, I'm coming to see the rabbi. You see me? So you know, I give thanks. Come on.
Love y'all.
Yes, I love you too, sister. Blessed love.
Yeah, you know, but you know,
all my brethren. You
I
know,
give thanks. I give thanks. No,
we
no,
write,
give thanks for that.
Brother
Give thanks for that testimony, sis.
Alonso. Yo, no, thank you for bringing, and thank you, brethren.
Oh, thank you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Yes,
thank
all
you.
glory, all praises, all honor to the Father, Yahweh
you know,
God.
Elohim
That's
is good.
that agency.
Yeshua is good.
Yeah. Paracletos, yo. Thank you for representing. Thank you for having us overstand. Thank you for making us say, huh?
He's doing a great work. Yes, sir. He's doing a great work. Great work. Great work.
So, and yes, so I just want to say, and this is again, right across, I already said it, New Mexico, that's a Logical project. That's a line of Judah in California. That's a line of Judah Society family thing. We got this, fams. The Most High already done set this up a long time ago.
Well, you got to add the IEOI to that, because IEOI is LOJ Society too. And IEOI is the I elect Israel. You know what I'm saying? IEOI till doves cry. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Up 2 turtle doves. We sending up 2 turtle doves. You understand what y'all understand me?
Chris
it's a conglomerate. You see me?
It's done. And you know, can I tell you the other crazy thing that I tried to touch on? This is the last. I know I'm the last. Listen, the crazy thing. This is what it wasn't even what was happening with Judgment over here in the yard in Butte County, the Booty County, where they use women as currency, the indigenous women, and they're from the Ya'i tribe, and those are brethren, and Isha and Ishi and all them, you know. So anyway, oh man, it's so deep. Oh man, Father, please bring it back. Oh yes. Why? Okay, what was happening? Beryl in Jamaica, right? We have water, Judgment water in Jamaica. You do understand that Butte County and Orville has a huge base of Jamaicans and Rastafari and the artists. Thank you, not CFO, but CFO Chico. Big up CFO Chico for bringing people in Butte County. But it was actually another brethren by the name of Ifa Journey, who brought the brethren to Butte County. And the brethren was like, this is an oasis, man. So it's just like Rastafari, our Jamaican brothers and sisters, yo, y'all have that fire. Butte County, it's like, yo, it was really, to me, I think that, like you always told us, it's coincidences. It's not a coincidence. There's coincidences that's happening, and how we got and then I'm not just saying reggae. I'm not saying just. I'm talking Rastaman in Butte County, not just Jamaican people. Rastaman or Rastoman. Or Rasta, or
distinguish the two. You see me?
Let's check out
tribals. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah, but we have to get things in good order. You know. But that's what he deliver us from all them things, and you know, come in good order and thing. You know what I mean? But yeah, man. Definitely give thanks for that. Give thanks for those testimonies. You know, because hopefully ones and ones can get strength, and definitely ones and ones have testimonies and must have, you know, those testimonies, you know, to testify.
Yes, and I want to thank everybody who has heard Newbie and me on these streets and patrolling, making sure you're saying the right things. And if I'm wrong, I'll correct myself, go back to Rebbe and my other brethren to like help correct I interrupt people. Sorry, don't take it personal. I can be messy, but that's my initials, MES, and then my brother's name is Messiah. So shut up. Anyway, so no.
Easy, sister.
I'm kidding. You know I'm sorry. You know I'm kind of
easy in our style. You know who we are.
I'm a jokesters. You know, I'm a short girl from Brooklyn, HBO Haitian. You know what I'm saying? I have to I gotta like show that I got some little scrappy.
Big shout out to Haiti.
So Haiti, Haitian, premature baby.
Yeah.
We just keep on fighting.
People, we're having a little informal moment right here. You know, a little informal moment.
Give thanks. I love y'all. Thank you so much. I'm gonna go back to. I just had to praise this. And thank you. This is such a
brother. Game man. You can see more game man right there on the screen. One seeing the screen right there. Game at me. Game at me. And I know you got links for the other links and links for the links.
Yeah,
Links.
just
Yeah.
Google Game Amp, and you'll see what I go on, because you know what, I got strengthened to the brethren to just keep on doing what the Most High said I did do. I know what lane I'm in. I'm not arguing anything with anyone. I'm just reasoning, Just just get a little
True, and
stronger.
testifying. Give thanks.
Testifying, true.
You know?
True.
Yes, yes,
Yes, sir.
you a kingdom. Yes, I give up. Yeah, you see how my little
Blessed love.
Like I said, we have another conversation. It's time the testimony and talk about
you going in the matrix.
So you're breaking up.
The Most High promise. I and I, when we came in 2011, 2012 to Cali. Oh, can you hear I?
Yes, now.
All right, blessed love. Now. Yes, I. Oh, I said one of these days we'll have a reasoning.
Right there. Huh?
So I said one of these days we'll have a reasoning about, what the Most High promised. But he did tell me when I came in 2011 that I was going to have a baby at 45. I said, a baby who? Who 45? What you talking about, Lewis? What y'all talking about, Willis? And then that's what really happened.
Wow. Hallelujah.
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 See, that's a testimony.
Adonai Eloheinu.
There's more.
Blessed love.
All of our brethren who helped carry us thus far and keep on carrying us through Yeshua HaMashiach, Yahweh Elohim. Thank you so much.
Hallelujah, my sister. Bless you and bless your family. Bless Brother Alonzo too. Yes, I.
Thank you.
You
brought him here. You brought him to I Gate, so give thanks.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man, and I give thanks as well. Because just being able to connect with the eye. And in recent times, someone gave me the awareness of this page, and at first, I came in with my debater energy, because I saw you had posted a few pictures from the holy tablets from Malachi's York, and I go all against Nuapi stuff. However, I'll say this. You know what I'm saying? So whenever I see those paintings from those books, you know what I'm saying, like something in my brain start tweaking. But I give thanks because the more I listen to the eye, the more I learn from the eye. You know what I'm saying? The Hebrew, you know what I'm saying, and just the amount of dedication that the eye has shown towards the reading, translation, and study, diligent research of the word. You know what I'm saying? I have to give thanks to the Most High for allowing me, you know what I'm saying, to be in contact with the eye. So
likewise, my brother. Likewise, my brother.
Yes,
that's for real.
Yes, sir. Let's get into this. Yeah, let's get to some
I see that work you put in elsewhere with the lectures and with the presentations and debates. That's work. I hope ones and ones will watch.
You see, I got a lot of work, right? And that's not all. Some of it is under Zion Warchild with the X, and some of it is under Zion Waring, Waring. You know what I'm saying? And then there's some with Zion the Lion on a Paradigm Shift. I've been connected with Paradigm Shift. You know what I'm saying? And they made me the top seed. I'm the boss. I'm like the boss in the video game. At the end of the whole tournament, now they literally call me the number one seed, the number one draft pick. They made me that, and I never asked for this. JJ 7000 made me the intercontinental champion of the Lions Den after I did some work outside of that platform. And it's just let other people testify. That's why I love you so much, because you're so humble. You know, I call you my rabbi, and you're like, hold on now, I never made that claim now, but I'm saying you're my rabbi.
That's right.
Sis just said you're rabbin. You understand what I'm saying? Let others testify to your good works. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Thanks, and may Father, may Father, may Father co-sign with the I them saying grace and glory. No, for real. But let's touch on this page right here that we have here. So you see the page here. Zoom in on the page there. That's at the LOJS.org. That's over at the LOJS. That's like for the Torah readings, and then also if we can get a page for the Psalms, get another page for the Psalms right there, the daily Psalm. Like we had Psalm 82 today. Psalm 82 is interesting because it's also Tuesday, evening Psalm. What I find, like even the Ethiopian order of Psalms, the evening Psalms is the same as they still use today among like other Jews, other Yehudi use the same set of Psalms. Like say for Sunday be 24, for Monday evening Psalm it'll be 48, and for Tuesday it's 82. But today's daily Psalm is 82. But be that as it may, here we have this Torah portion, like the 40th. Right, the 40th weekly Torah portion right here is Balak. Now, Balak, not to get all in the details right here, there's more like reading right here, and also like, giving like a kind of an overview and a commentary. Balak, he was a Moabite, right? And basically, he tries to hire this like a cult prophet, Balaam, to lay a curse on Israel, Now, Balaam meets resistance from Yah, because Yah says, so Balaam has this relationship with Yah. So who is Balaam? This man Balaam, So Balaam, people probably know it from Bible school, like with, the man talking to the donkey. You know what I mean? The man talking to the donkey, and the one who was hired to curse Israel. Now, he's a Moor, or not Moor, but what they say, a Moabite. Right, the Moabites claim to be Moors. That's a whole other reason. Yes, right there. Yeah. Like the first thing I should do is try to like learn. Okay, what is this really saying in the context of the narrative?
Yes,
you know what I mean? There's a lot of other things that can be related, like the fact that the Moors might call themselves Moabites, so we can reason on that. Or some of the early Yehudi, the early Jews over here, black Jews, were known as the Moorish Zion temple. You know what I mean? The Moorish Zionist temple. I don't know if one can bring that up right there. Can you bring that one up?
The Moorish Zionist temple? I had something on the Moorish Zionist temple and how they came after the Ethiopian Hebrew temple, Zionist temple. That I don't remember where I had it. Hold on, let me see.
Because I know I might hook up my my phone right here so I can bring that up and show the people who I'm talking about. So they also was known, and they also call themselves what they call it, Moors. So the Moors, yeah.
I got something. See, this is what preceded. Here, let me share the screen real quick.
Okay. Can you share? Do we have to do anything here?
Yeah. So once I'm gonna present.
Okay, go to present.
Share screen. This is this was in Harlem. Can you see this?
Hold on for a moment. It should be coming right now.
And this was the Ethiopian Zionist.
Zoom in on it.
Hebrews.
Zoom in on it if you can.
Okay, yes, I.
Yeah, there we go. Like zoom in a little more. Can you zoom in a little more?
You see that?
See, there we go.
The Moorish Zionist temple of Moorish Jews. Okay, that's 127th Street, West 137th. This predates the One West. This is 1920s. This is the Harlem Renaissance, y'all. Okay, understand that the Harlem Renaissance, you know what I'm saying, was heralded, and that's where Sammy Davis Jr. was born. Sammy Davis Jr. was born in Harlem, New York, around the 1920s, early 1930s. Prior to Abba Vivens, who established One West in 1969.
Now, this pic here. There's another important thing about this picture.
Yes, sir.
Have you noticed, like, you see what people will call today the Jewish flag?
Yes, sir.
Now, this is before. This picture is dated as being 29. I don't know if that page says it, but it's 1929, right?
Yeah.
About 1929. This picture, and look at the flag. Like, if you go, we can bring up where it says. If you zoom in right there, there's an American flag, and
Yes,
then
sir.
there is
the Jewish flag, right? The Israel.
No.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
before Israel was even established.
That was at least
That's 20 years before.
About 18, 19, I get 19 years
Oh
before
my
the
God.
state of Israel.
Oh,
I did a whole thing on that right there. I don't know if you can zoom in on it more. I don't know if you can zoom in on it more.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah.
No, that's as far as I can go. That's it.
Okay. Oh, you see it right there. You see it right there. So now if you go to
right
a page, they have a page about the Israeli flag, the modern Israeli State of Israel flag. If you go to that page, you will get to see that they didn't adopt that until later on. So we have black people, the black Jews of Harlem, using that there as our flag, as Israel's flag. You know, the people of Israel, not the.
That's so powerful.
You see, all of this was before the state of Israel.
Yes, sir.
You know, and they admit in their own documentation that they had a lot of different designs for what their flag would be.
And they just went with what we did.
That's what I'm trying to say. There's this mystic level of it.
They just said, you know what, we're gonna rock with Israel in captivity, in bondage, 400
is doing. And we can go deeper on this. I'm gonna have to bring up those pages, but there's even like a lot of the European Jews, when they were over here, they would hire black people to sing the holy parts of the liturgy. People don't know that the blacks were their cantors.
Yes, sir. Yeah. I have one of the black cantors of that time period, 1927.
It is a whole page. There's a whole kind of little niche out there on the internet. If I could get some of that, I'll definitely like to share with the people so they can at least see what others are saying about this period. That's what the Al Jolson is a level of that too.
Yeah.
But Al Jolson used to go to the jazz clubs to hear black people sing, you could say, jazz music.
His name was Teve der Schwarzer Kazen. Schwarzer means black. I have the image here if you want me to share that. Yeah. He was a famous black Jewish Yiddish Hebrew and Yiddish. You got to separate the two.
Who are you speaking of? Who are you speaking of now?
Art letter, the story of Thomas LaRue Jones.
Oh yeah.
From Newark, who captivated the Jewish world with his songs.
Okay. Donovan, hold on for a moment. Donovan Morrison is saying, isn't that Rabbi Wentworth, Arthur Matthews in the picture? No, that is Mordecai. I think Herman, right? Mordecai Herman,
right,
in the picture,
right? Yeah. Rabbi, you're talking about the commandment keepers. They were also connected with the Ethiopian Zionists, the Moorish Jews, Ethiopian Hebrews, and the commandment keepers. You know what I'm saying? Josiah Ford. You know what I'm saying? And Josiah Ford, Haile Selassie had Josiah Ford brought to Ethiopia, and that's where Josiah Ford rested his bones.
Yeah. He went there. In fact, I think there's the story that when Mussolini and the war came, they actually, the Italians, the fascists, kicked out a lot of the black people, right, who had identified with Ethiopian as Israelites, who had went over there prior to the war, after the coronation. they had went over there. So
Yes,
there's a
sir.
whole like, okay, give thanks
Yo,
right
I believe that Josiah Ford was actually present at the coronation, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so too. His history
I
is
believe he
definitely
was sent. Yeah, Haile Selassie sent for him, if I'm not mistaken, that he sent for him to come there for the coronation. So his works in getting the regathering of the outcast and dispersed began before he was actually crowned Negus Negusti.
yeah, Negus and the
Yes, sir.
guest. Yeah, Negus
Yes,
and the
yes, sir.
guest. That especially because we go back to 1916. And here's something very interesting that the Jehovah Witness, right? They said that like based on some calculation of biblical right there, right there, right there, right there. Hold on. Go back up the screen. Can you go back up the screen? I don't know if you can hear me. No. Down then. Go down. Yeah. Click on that picture of the man with that's LaRue next to him. The man with the turban. No. Go the opposite way. The
Yeah.
other way.
Oh.
No.
Right.
Go the other way. Can you go the other way?
Or to the left or to the right?
Okay. Go back up. Like bring the picture
Up.
down. Bring the page down.
Scroll down.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Scroll down.
No. The
Are you
opposite
going?
way. The other
No,
way. The other
yeah,
way.
up. Scroll up. Sorry.
Scroll up. Yeah. Okay, scroll up. Okay. Now right there. Stop.
Right. That's LaRue. Yep.
You see LaRue, and right next to him is Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford.
Josiah Ford. Yes, sir.
Yeah, right next to him, right there.
Yes, sir.
There we go, right there. Yeah. And
Yep.
he's also the one credited with the Ethiopia anthem.
Yes, sir.
You know, we're doing the music for the Ethiopia anthem.
Yeah.
That the Rastafari would later adopt that as we call it the Ethiopia anthem.
Ken.
You know, well, what's the difference between them? One is the universal Ethiopia. That's what it's called, the universal Ethiopia anthem, because there was also the Ethiopia anthem of His Majesty Ethiopia. Yeah, that picture right there. That picture there. That is who I think Brother Donovan was asking.
Wentworth.
Whether that's not Wentworth. That's Mordecai Herman. And I got to thank Brother Ross Ierson, you know, because he also did this work. 399. What is it called again? 399, something like 399 years. It's a. I got to bring up that work right there. So good work, and he zooms in on that history there. You know, bring out that history because it's an important part of our history, but it's not. You know, I guess we need to talk about it more. We need to, you know, make the significance. What's the significance of it? You know, because then after the Moorish Zionist temple would come the commandment keepers. It's like in the 1930s. It's like that picture is the end of the Roaring Twenties.
Right.
You know, 1929.
Yes.
And then right after that,
that's a highlight in Black culture.
Yeah, it's like after the coronation of His Majesty as King of Kings, Throne of David, all of that. What do we see happen? We see them changing their name. They begin to identify. Now, the reason why I'm talking, hold that picture right there, the Moorish, because the Moorish, in Moorish ideology, some levels of it, they connect with the Moabites. Right. And what's interesting is that in this fourth book of Moses, Numbers, the last place in the wilderness that the Israelites are is in the plains of Moab. Okay. In the plains of Moab, just before they begin to cross over to go into the promised land. And so I find it to be interesting prophetically that we have this whole Moorish connection, even with the Black Jews, also with the Moors, and they can make the Moabite link. And the last place in the wilderness that the Israelites were at before they cross over. Now look at that history.
Now, didn't they predate? What's his name? Noble Drew Ali.
Well, here's what some writers have written, and I have the documentation. They say that Noble Drew Ali, who was born Timothy Drew, right? That his family, the Drew family, was said to have attended like a Moorish Zionist temple of the Black Jews.
Okay.
And so he was somehow influenced. Some writers say this, that he was influenced by that. So when he comes of age, he has this Moorish idea, but it's different than the black Jew element. It's more the Moabite connection.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why this picture is so very interesting, because after 1929,
Islamic, and he goes to Islam and multiple other cultural ideologies. Not just Islam. He was dealing with.
But here's what Ford is interesting.
Yeah.
Ford on an ancient certificate where he says that he has been authorized to be like the rabbi of the black Jews in America. You remember?
Oh yes.
This whole connection, and then went with Arthur. He says he's empowered he was empowered from Addis Ababa, so he made the connection with yes. Give thanks, HXN. So he makes a connection right there with authority. Let me find that book. Hold on for a moment. Let me find this book right here. Let's see if there's this book. Okay, I think I got it right over here. Let me see if I can bring this up for y'all. Y'all can see this. Okay, let me see if you can see this book. Let's see. Let's see right here. This book right here. This book is called The Black Jews of Harlem. Right? And this book was written. It's like this I think like a white or Jewish guy. He basically goes amongst them and reasons, and he
did a couple of papers on it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 1964. This is 1964 and 1970. So this book here, it says this right here, and this book is called This is The Black Jews of Harlem by Howard M. Broats, right? Okay. And there's this page here where he says right here, it is from Addis Ababa that I derive my authority as head of the black Jews in the United States. We are Africans or Ethiopian Hebrews. Right. Now, this book, remember that this is Wentworth Arthur Matthew. So for brother Donovan, this here is Wentworth Arthur Matthew, and the community is now known at this time, from 1930 onward, it became known as the Commandment Keepers, the Royal Order of the Ethiopian Hebrews. That's where we get that from. The Commandment Keepers Congregation of the Living God. So this book right here is a very, very important book. So he says this is where I think the main link is. He says Haile Selassie is the present day king of the house of Israel. This is proof that David should never a black man to sit upon the throne of Israel. Now pause for a moment.
Woo!
This is all based on what happened in 1930. And in 1930, there was no state of Israel. See what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
In 1929, we see that picture there. If you look to the men on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see that there's two flags. There's the American flag, and what people will say is the Israeli flag. But before it was the Israeli flag, it was the black Israelite flag.
Israelite flag.
And this is about 19 years before the state of Israel. When Haile Selassie was anointed and crowned, right, and 72 nations witnessed that, one of the titles was King of Israel. And this is the aspect of the Davidic prophecy. You see, like, people confuse at least three different prophecies that Yeshua spoke of. There's like three different prophecies get kind of confused, right? And one of them is a future prophecy. There were some of the prophecies of the Messiah that was fulfilled then. You know what I mean? And there was some prophecy to be fulfilled. Like
to be fulfilled. Yes, sir.
When we said that Yeshua is Messiah, right? We say he's Messiah. According to the Bible, he's Messiah, the high priest. Is he or is he not?
Remember where it says, and in his time, he will show who is the only potentate.
Now, potentate says like a sovereign. Like, who is the only sovereign?
So it starts off. Let me look that up now. In
that's Timothy.
his time,
That's
In
Timothy.
his time, yes, he
Yeah.
will show who is the only potentate. So that's in Timothy, right?
That's
So
interesting. You mentioned that. Yeah.
so it's telling you that within a chronological order,
Mm,
he would be that potentate. But we
mm,
also understand that the Davidic covenant, if God's word shall not turn up void, if God's word be true, and God, Yahweh, keeps his commandments, Yahweh God keeps his commandments,
and
right?
keeps his covenant. Keeps his covenant.
All
Yeah.
of his covenants, he
Mm-hmm.
keeps them, then that means that there would always be one to sit upon the throne, the seat of David according to the flesh, right? And a lawgiver between his feet. That promise was given to Judah and also transferred to the Davidic bloodline.
That's what
So
Hebrews. Yeah, that's what
yes,
Hebrews
sir.
really
Yes,
seals
sir.
it. Hebrews. No. Along what you're saying, because that right there, is speak. You see, when Christ was talking to them about whose son is the Messiah, and they were saying he's the son of David, and Christ asked them a question. He asked the rabbis and the scholars and like the religious leaders and the ones who know and read the books. He asked them, "Who do you say the Messiah is?" And they said that Messiah, son of David. Now, anyone who really studies like first century, Jewish or Yehudi ideas, like of what the Messiah was surrounded by, know that they had these two advents of the Messiah, the first and the second coming, right? That's what comes into the first and second coming idea. There's the Messiah, son of Joseph, and there's the Messiah, son of David. And this goes back to like the Ethiopic Enoch. If you study Enoch carefully, you'll see that there's the Messiah who's the son of the woman, and he's the Messiah of the parables. He's the Messiah of the parables. And then there's a second like advent of Messiah within the book of Enoch,
Yes,
and
sir.
he's like a man, but he's more than a man, right? And in his days, the key significant thing is that his coming will unite Israel.
Right.
Will unite Israel. In other words, like Israel would almost like the valley of the dry bones. Like how in the valley of the dry bones, they're there, but now they re-identify with their identity. And then when you look at when His Majesty, when the man child was born in Ethiopia, as Psalm 87 verse 4 says, with Ethiopia, this man or this was born there, right? So that connection with Ethiopia, what's the significance of connection with Ethiopia? Well, from 1892, it seems as though Black people many became the first, you could say, begotten, so to speak, became more conscious of being Israelites, and also the Ethiopian connection was there. You know what I mean? The Ethiopian connection. You know what I mean? I know this is something that the other Israelite camps, they have other, you could say, philosophies or other ideas. They'll say it's the truth, but other ideas. Because they'll say that Moses was wrong when he married an Ethiopian woman. That's amazing. Because when Miriam spoke against the Ethiopian woman, she was turned white. You know what I mean? And if she already was white and she got turned white, what's the point?
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, what's the point right there?
Brother Donovan Morrison, he says, you guys forget Solomon was anointed king of Israel in Ethiopia on the Gihon. So Ethiopia was connected with Israel way before the story of Menelik. Absolutely. There's something called the Incense Road. The Incense Road, Brother Donovan.
You have a map of that? You have a map of that?
Come on, I do somewhere. The Incense Road actually leads up from Yemen, which is modern day Yemen, which in ancient times was Sheba, which is literally only about 40 some odd miles away from Djibouti, Ethiopia. And so the empire of Sheba encompassed a broader span of land, which encompass most of what is considered northern parts of Ethiopia today. Okay, so absolutely that Incense Road went to the southern kingdom, which is Judah.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
interesting right there. Exactly.
So you are absolutely correct, Brother Donovan. Yes, I.
Give thanks, Brother Donovan, for that right there. Yeah, the Ethiopia connection, although scholars today would try to dismiss that. Here's what they do. They try to dismiss that and say that, well, there was like a little stream named Gihon in what is called like Israel region today.
Yeah. Yes,
There's a little stream named Gihon.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just very interesting that, wow, there's a Gihon there.
Named after the river. Right.
And there's a Gihon there. Yeah, a stream named after, you know, like Little Brooklyn or Little this or Little that.
Right. Well, why would it be named after that if it was not connected to it somehow?
Yeah.
In some reference, there is some relation, and that I believe is the Incense Road.
Yeah. The one about the river, the Gihon and Solomon connection with where Solomon was anointed is a really interesting connection, and also the Incense Road to show that the proximity of these places was very, very close.
Here's a question, Rabbi. Wasn't it a land that was given to Queen Candace? Wasn't there a region that was afforded to her around the southern? Wasn't that the Gihon around the Gihon Springs?
Well, what I know from the scripts, it was the Gaza. It was the Gaza, according to the Kevin.
Gaza was given to Sabah because she became a vassal state of Israel. Correct?
I don't know if really vassal
through the bounty he gave her.
Through
the yard.
We discussed that. Okay, that's going to be an interesting reason. I think the people would love to hear that one right there about
the yard, the bounty. He gave up his royal bounty. What does that mean, y'all? We'll get into that. Go ahead. Yeah. Don't let
me. It's also be recognized that she also possessed, you could say, territory. It almost appears that he possessed a lot of the territory up in the north. He was the most influential king in that sense. And she was also the most powerful ruler in the south. You know what I mean?
Yes,
and that what Solomon was able to achieve with the Queen of Sheba on one level was a political, political and economic
union.
Exactly.
Yes. And that was oftentimes consummated through some form because the unity between two nations back in those days oftentimes had to be protected through some form of blood connection. And so this is why this is one of the reasons why many scholars say that the unions between Solomon having 600 wives and 300 concubines were all political unions. And that was also prophesied when it said that the Most High would enlarge your territories.
Is that the number? Is that the number of wives? The breakdown right there?
Yeah, that the number of wives were all political unions. In taking a union with any surrounding nation, the only way that one would be protected. You see that in some of these mafia movies. They'll take a godchild, or their wives, their daughters will marry into the other person's family in order to maintain, well, we're not going to attack you because now we have a grandchild together.
Yeah, it was 700, bro. 700. No, 700 wives.
Yes,
princess and 300 concubines. But then, now that you mention that, have you read the Kevin the Guest? Where the Kevin the Guest states that, Solomon's idea, like a man, his man idea was that by having all of these women and having seed from all these women, he would be the most, his seed would fulfill God's prophecy of like the gates, ruling in the gates of your enemies. You know what I mean? That's what Solomon believed. But according to the Kevin the Guest, it says that God frustrated his plan, and that instead of having these many children because of the wives and concubines, he only had 3. You know what I mean? He had 3. He had Menelik, or David II, who went to Ethiopia. He had Rehoboam, and there was another one I think called Adrami, who they said there was some sort of a Greek slave or a Greek servant. He had this one. It's just kind of interesting on the level of what you're saying, that even though he didn't have children with them, he thought that he would have children with them. And therefore, because he was the wisest man and this anointed of God, that God's word will be fulfilled through the multitude of his children.
Right.
You know what I'm
And
saying?
the interesting thing is too with David, if you look back to his father, David's the scepter was first but only between the two sons of Bathsheba. He had children from other women, but they were not counted in that. And then Jeconiah received the curse, the son of Nathan. Nathan and Solomon received the scepter, whereas the rest of David's children did not.
Yeah.
And then Jeconiah placed a curse upon Nathan's bloodline that they would not receive the scepter, and so they received the tree, the curse, right? Curse is the man who was hung on a tree, and that's where Joseph's bloodline comes from.
Oh, Jeconiah. Yeah, that's how some of the. Hold on for a moment. I'm trying to. Hey, Meme. What a name. Yeah, I want to try to bring this up right here. Bring up my screen as well. Keep your screen there. I don't know if we can keep one on one screen there.
No, that's your screen. But that was
Okay.
the same picture. Yeah, that was the same
Okay. That's LOJ. Okay, yeah,
Yes,
I see that right here. Yeah, trying to bring up this. Yeah, Jeconiah. Yeah, let's see right here. Okay, here's where we go. Okay, thank you. Yeah, Jeconiah.
Remember, it said count him as being childless, for anyone of his seed would not sit upon the throne. So it's interesting that they say that Joseph is the assumed father of.
That's interesting. You said right there, like here's what you're talking about right here. The Jeremiah 22 and 30. Thus saith Yahweh, right, y'all, this man childless, a man shall not prosper in his days, for no man of his seed shall prosper, sitting upon the throne of David, right, and ruling any more in Yehuda or Judah. Just right
so
here.
He wasn't childless. They just said count him childless, because none of his children would ever sit upon the throne. So it was almost as if he didn't have any kids.
Wow, yeah. That's a good breakdown. A good breakdown right there. Oh, that's a good breakdown. If one wants to see the Hebrew right here, but yeah, count him childless. Let's look at look at this word here. This word ariri. He'd be ariri. You know, ariri, like stripped beer. I think it comes from the idea of like naked ara. Yeah, ara is a stripped beer. Ara, you know, like yeah, ara, figuratively to demolish. Right. You see that right there?
Right.
Yeah, ara. Right. Like make him be stripped.
Right. You know? He ripped him of his own seed, in a sense that his own seed's inheritance. So
now, what you talking
would never receive that inheritance.
What you talking about with Joseph?
Yes.
The supposed. Let me see if I can get the word supposed.
Supposed, right? Which means like it's almost like adoptive father, right?
This is the verse you're talking about right here.
Yes, I.
Yeah, right here when it says, and Yeshua himself began to be about 30 years of age, being. Now they put this in parenthetical, what they call parenthetical. That means that the translator decides to put parentheses places.
Parentheses upon, right?
Yeah, as was supposed, right? But you can tell that word, the only words that don't exist in the King James Version when you start to study them is the majority of the italicized words.
Yes, I.
So as was supposed, you see, suppose the son of Joseph,
right,
which was of Eli, right?
Yes, Eli, yes, I.
Eli, well, actually, that would be in the Hebrew. That would be Eli.
Yes,
Eli. Yeah,
Eli. Yes, I.
Eli. Well, actually, it's like
Eli. Yes, I.
Ascension, because it's in the word Allah. Allah.
Yes, I.
Because Allah means
Elohim,
no. Pause.
Allah.
No. This is Allah.
Oh,
You see that?
got
You see that
you.
first letter there?
Allah.
That's the ayn. Yeah, it's like a harder A.
So it's different. Got you.
You know, there's like and there's There's and You know, there's a high and a low. You know, like yeah. In fact, we as Black people, we express. If you listen carefully, we express the hard and soft sounds, but you know. You know what I mean? Like for real. You know what I mean?
I'm going into the rabbit hole now.
You see, because Allah here is not Allah.
Oh man.
Allah is actually well, that's a whole other reasoning right there. But this is Aili. Yeah, it's like a harder Aili, right? So here is where it says suppose. So the word suppose is and from the Greek is nomizo. You see nomizo right there? You see nomizo. So nomizo, to hold by custom or usage, to own as a custom or usage, to follow a custom. It is the custom. It is the received usage.
So when he married her and she would, she had a child, you know what I'm saying? He the custom was for him to be the supposed father. And that happened, I believe, with who was it? Not Manasseh. Was it Manasseh a adoptive child?
Well, you have to look at the Hebrew use of sonship, because in a sense we are sons. We are B'nai Elohim, right?
Yes, sir.
And that kind of brings us to today's Psalm 82, where it has sons of Elohim. It'd be really, really good to even touch on that and get into that right there, because a lot of people got the wrong idea. They think it's talking about angels. They think it's talking about other nations. No, it's strictly talking about Israel and the judges of Israel. You know what I mean? Because what Israel was supposed to be in Yahweh's plan. You know what I mean? In his plan, if Israel was obedient, right, we would be like the high priest of the world in a sense. You know what I mean? We would be like the ones who would, maintain that balance. But anyway, but before we get on that, look at this. The secondary is to deem, to think, to suppose. So why would it say? Because Strong, you see Strong's definition? That was the BDB, right? It says properly to do by law usage. That is to accustom, to be usual. So this is saying that this is like a proof that he's not really the father. Because even in Matthew, where it says that he did not know her until when? Until after she brought forward her firstborn child. Right? Now, people who follow like Catholic or Orthodox or even Protestant, this is not talking about that. But here, some people might say this is a more Protestant idea. But the Protestants happen to be correct with this based on scripture. You know what I mean? Based on what is written in scripture. You know what I mean? So you see this right here, everybody, Luke 3:23, right? It says that Yeshua, was the supposed son, right? Right. Let me bring this up here and see different translators. As it seemed of Joseph. Different translations say right here he was regarded as a son of Joseph. People thought that he was Joseph's son, right? He was Eli's son, right? And then we get, the Greek, we could get into that. Look what it says here. The ISV has as legally calculated, as supposed to be. Let's go down here, right here, the NET, which is, let's see, this is as was supposed. This is the Hebrew, the NHEB of the New Testament. And then we have WEB as was supposed, right? So they all agree right there. The ones that come from more the Hebrew more agree, with the idea that he was a supposed son. Even that makes you wonder, like, wait, there's more to this. You know what I mean? If he was a son, he was a son. You know what I mean? Right. Now, what's the other verse where it says that, and he, knew her not? right? It was the one with,
Yes. Yeah. He
you
had
know,
no. She I think she questioned how she could have a child when she had known not a man. Um,
you're right here, right
there
here.
is in the somebody brought this to my attention that in the Aramaic text that the Holy Spirit falls upon Joseph and then he took his wife.
Oh, wow, that brings us to a whole other level right there, man, because there's a whole reasoning how like they spoke Aramaic, but Aramaic was like how can I say? I'm not gonna say like gutter language, but they
Yeah,
spoke Aramaic,
it was
but
hood language.
yeah. Because notice this that when Yeshua was crucified, as it is written, right, according to what is written, because we're just looking at what is written. None of us was there. You know what I mean?
Yes,
But
sir.
when he was crucified, what languages was the thing written in? Written in three languages. It was written in the Hebrew,
Right.
right?
Greek
It
and
was
Aramaic.
written in Greek and Latin. The
Latin.
Hebrew, the Greek, and the Latin. So it didn't say it was written in Aramaic.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? You know, it was written in. Did Yeshua speak Aramaic? Yeah, he spoke Aramaic, but he also spoke Hebrew, right? And his disciples also spoke Hebrew and they spoke Aramaic. These are two languages that were very close, but they have a different feel. You know what I mean?
Right.
And we're going to touch on some things to kind of prove that right there. I know popular scholarship, the academics, the consensus view is that he spoke Aramaic. But anyone who really seriously has studied it would find out that he spoke Aramaic, but that wasn't the main thing that's going on. It was
Okay.
he, you know, it didn't say the epistle to the Arameans.
Uh-huh.
You know, the
Right,
reason why they spoke Aramaic is because Aramaic was the official language of like the Assyrians and later on the Babylonians.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the same way that Greek culture becomes the main culture of the Romans. The Romans deal with Latin, but they imitate Greek stuff. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
So there's a popular language that was being spoken when the Yehudi, the Jews, were in captivity, and that was Aramaic. So it became like the popular language that one spoke. But there
That's
was
right.
a movement to return to the Hebrew. And we could go all the way back to Ezra. Remember how
Mhm.
Ezra was saying that the
Mhm.
people can't speak, you know, the
Right.
Jews language. Notice it
Yes,
says
sir.
Jews and the Jews language will be the Yehudi. Yehudi is what is called in the language, Yehudi, right? But see, that's another point right there. That's a good point. And we can ride up with that point right there. You good?
Ken.
Yeah. Matthew 125. And knew her not till she had brought forth her firstborn son. And he called his name, it says Jesus or Yeshua, right? So even the language of this says that he knew her not.
Right.
Right?
Right.
I would
Right.
not do such and such until,
Right.
you know.
Until after, right. Until after.
Yeah, I know in the Catholic and the Eastern Orthodox and even amongst the Ethiopian Orthodox, there are
There's
additional
conflict. There's a lot of conflict with that.
no, no, but there's additional ideas that we could say the saints and ones who sought to be, you know, you could say Christian in their way, you know, add to it. But what the scriptures testify is what the scriptures testify.
Yes, sir.
Notice
Yeah.
that when His Majesty brought forward his Bible,
Yeah.
that wasn't a idea that the many of the church, you know, was very happy with.
Okay.
What was the most revolutionary idea in Christian Europe? It was when Martin Luther and the other started to talk about printing the Bible,
Right.
because then it was only the priests that really had access to the Bible.
Right. And so they could lord over the scriptures.
Now in Ethiopia, the only difference was that it wasn't like that the people were prevented from reading, but
Right.
it's that most of the service went on in the gutters, and a lot
Mhm.
of the people didn't really understand as fully
Yeah.
as we should. You know, as it went from generation to generation, the holy language was the gutters. You
Yes,
know what I
sir.
mean? Like in the Roman church, their language was Latin, right? But the people were deprived of an understanding of it. So by His Majesty delivering the Bible to the people, that's what we call that line of Judah breaking them seals. Because no man, was able to open the book and to read it, So He was able to bring forward the language in the Bible and the language that the people understood. You see what I'm saying? And I'm submitting to y'all that was an idea that the church was not happy with. You see what I'm saying? And it's not to say that His Majesty did not defend the Orthodox Church. He did, but at the same time, He introduces things that are more scriptural. And we could go to his autobiography. If you go to his autobiography, he's there telling the priest, and telling the people, stop the useless mourning for the dead. I don't know if you read that in the autobiography, where he goes into that. And he also said that he found a book that used to show that in the ancient church, when men and women were married in the Tewahedo church, that there was a crowning ceremony. So he found this book, this what is it, Metzhafa Tekliel?
Right. And that's why we see that in a lot of Ethiopian marriages now again.
Because it's what His Majesty had done.
He has done that. Yes, he brought that
back. This is in the autobiography.
Revived.
And so even before he was anointed and crowned as King of Kings upon the throne of David, he was already checking certain things about the clergy and the church. You see what I'm saying? Because the church is the body, you know what I mean? And Christ is the head. So it's interesting how His Majesty was checking them and correcting them. You know what I mean? So His Majesty finds this book and he gets the book printed. And then he issues to the church legislation, like an order that you shall begin to conduct services this way. So look what happens.
Yes, sir. So he's acting as a king and a priest.
In that, exactly. In that
he has authority over the priesthood.
Exactly. And he also told them to cut out the mourning for the dead and cutting their hair and going, because sometimes ones in the church tradition went into deep mourning. Mm-hmm. Some deep mourning.
Yes, sir.
Somebody's mourning for years.
Yeah. That's a Nile Valley tradition that goes back to Cush, Kemet, and all of, Nubia. You know what I'm saying? All of those traditions, the mourning ceremonies with the women. You know what I'm saying? We see that even with Christ and the two Marys.
But there's a limitation, like in the kind of the Hebrew idea, there's a limitation of that.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Like even in the previous Torah portion, they mourn for, I think, Miriam. Miriam died, and then they mourn for Aaron, I think 30 days, and then they mourn for Moses too.
Yes, sir.
But they mourn for a limited space of time. In fact, just to prove this right here, hold on for a moment. Just to prove this, I have the autobiography. I can't show ones right now on the screen.
Yes, sir.
This right here, but in the autobiography of His Majesty.
If you can send me a few pages of that, because I have another Haile Selassie debate coming up.
You mean of this section here? Because I'm trying to find this section where His Majesty
all of his good works, man. Yes, yes, absolutely. That section as well.
Oh, you funny. I got you. I got you.
I'm gonna smush somebody's head in.
Well, this section here, let me see if I can find this section. It's about when he gave this instruction to the church, right? And and this is like prior to coronation. He was giving these proclamations, but that's what it means when talking about the government shall be upon his shoulder. I know I didn't touch on that much deeper right there, but when we look at the prophecies, like the way we see prophecies now, a lot of that is like the papal confusion. You know what I mean? The papal confusion. I don't know if ones understand that, we still bun, Rome still get a bunning. Because the ancient prophecy was that, Antichrist will come from the people who crucified Christ. Some people interpret that to be the Jews, but more correctly, it was the Romans. You know what I'm saying? It it was many of the Yehudi intent, you know what I mean, to do so, you know, but they did not have the power to do so, you know, so the hand of it was Rome.
Okay.
You know, and who was the ones that invaded? It was Rome. You know, okay. Oh, the thing went out right here. Yeah. Hold on for a moment. I'm trying to find this section right here. Yeah, trying to find this section. Um, but yeah, but anyway, on the whole Moorish thing, because we kind of got off on that Moorish thing.
Right.
It was because the Torah portion here is talking about Balak. You know, Balak is Balak, but if you say it, it sounds like black. Balak is a king of Moab. And because he didn't want to fight the Israelites, he instead hired a kind of a pastor, a priest. He hired Balaam. Now, some people say that Balaam is a false prophet. What sayest thou?
I can't call it
Balaam. You know Balaam?
Balaam. Now I was thinking more of I thought, you know, at first I thought it was Bilal, but that's different.
Balaam?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to this right here. Let's go to this because we can go into that right there, but it was a good kind of reasoning on that right there. Let's see. Is Balak is his name? There we go right there.
Bilal.
That's where the Torah portion begins right there. This Torah portion, the 40th Torah portion. So you see right here, here's his name. Balak. 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 It's a cough. It says cough. Right? Balak. It's actually like a Q. You can see right there the transliteration. Balak. Balak. And it means devastator, it said. He's the Moabite, he's the king of Moab who hired Balaam to curse Israel. You know? Now, this is not to get back on Noble Drew Ali, but there's some things I read back in the days, right, where he was kind of like putting down the whole Ethiopian thing. Now, this might not be his teaching, but you know, even what's his name, Dr. York and the Nuwabians, they used to put other people's like teachings.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And some of it was
another portal right there.
What you said?
Just opened up a whole nother portal right there. Right. I'm thinking, because it's interesting that it's saying here the king of Moab who hired Balaam to curse Israel, right? And then now, you know, at that time, if you recall, Josiah Ford was trying to encourage Marcus Messiah Garvey to make Judaism or Yehudiism or Yehudim the official religion of the UNIA, of the Negro.
Wow, that's interesting.
And so you have these dissenters, in a sense, claiming to be from Nuwapu, you know what I'm saying, and all this, you know what I'm saying, Shabazz, Moab. I don't even know where Shabazz is. Today I saw some other thing. They said Shabazz is someplace in West Africa. I don't know, man.
And what's interesting is that you'll get like the Nation of Islam talking about like, you know, the black man being God, right? And then before that, you had Reverend James Morris Webb. I don't know how many people remember Reverend James Morris Webb.
Yes, sir.
Anybody remember James Morris Webb?
I'm familiar. You might have to refresh me a little bit.
Okay, let me see if I can bring it up like this right here. Let's see, James Morris Webb. Let me go this right here. I'm gonna just look it up. James Morris, right? Morris Webb, right? Webb, and let's go Webb. There you go, right there. James Morris Webb. This man right here. Here we go, right here. Let me bring him up. James Morris Webb, right? And James Morris Webb is said to be the first one who said right here. Let me see if I can bring this up. Can one see this right here?
Yeah.
He's the one that was preaching in America. They said he was like from Chicago. He was a Chicago, some say Chicago mystic or a reverend, right? And
Yes,
he
sir.
was publishing publication like the Negro Universal King and Negro Universal King coming to rule the world. And here's a quote from Charles Price, Becoming Rasta, Origins of Rastafari Identity in Jamaica, page 47. Now remember, James Morris Webb, he's a Black American. Just want to note that right there. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
So it says, perhaps some people confuse Garvey's ideas with those of Reverend James Webb, who in 1924 pronounced the coming of a redeeming Black king in a speech delivered in Liberty Hall. You see what I'm saying? So there's a speech delivered in Liberty Hall,
Okay.
and James Morris Webb, what I recall, I think this is an accurate quote, right? I would say quote me on this, but verify it. He says, look to Africa where a Black man will be crowned king. In him you will find the Redeemer. And so he was preaching this all back in like you could say, man, I think he's been preaching this back in the teens, right?
Right.
You know, like back in the teens into the
Right.
20s.
Has to be
Pre-Garvey. So when Garvey came to America,
24.
you know, when Garvey came to America, okay, a couple of facts. From the Garvey documentary and others, they said that he was not like really effective as a preacher, you know, as a speaker, but he had learned from this white guy. I don't know if one's seen that same documentary, you know, this white, you know, charismatic preacher and everything like that. And so he learned and he became very good at it. One thing that one can say that Garvey is like John the Baptist in the sense of, you know, he's a voice crying in the wilderness. He became like, I can say, he became like the sound system. If you wanted your sound to be heard, you needed to play it on his sound system. He became that voice in the wilderness.
Right.
Remember, Elijah Muhammad called America the wilderness because that's how Black people took this sojourn. Like America's like the wilderness. Now think about this for a moment. The Israelites, even when they were freed, right, from Egypt, they were still in the wilderness, and they wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. But now we talk about 400 years.
Yes, sir.
You see what I'm saying? So the wilderness of North America. So Garvey come from Jamaica here to North America, right? And there's already a popular movement. Why did Garvey come to America anyway? It is said that he came to America because in Jamaica, a lot of his ideas wasn't really being received. Wasn't really being well received. And he wanted to learn also from Booker T. Washington.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? And I get to hear that Booker T. Washington, how can I say, and some people compare him to like Sharpton today. Now,
yes. I from what I've studied, he was a total,
You see, this is where history is interesting. We look at history now from our vantage point. But when I do this study,
he didn't want to protest against nothing. He was like, well, let's just make money and learn trades so we can be effective in the industrial complex. But let's not, worry about getting an education and our children let's not try to force ourselves to be citizens, and let's not try. Yeah, Booker T was something interesting.
Yeah, and this is what's interesting because on the level of what he was able to do in the trades and the basic schooling, he was effective. But his politics, if people knew it today, they probably would think of him as as an Uncle Tom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Now Garvey wanted to come to America according to the history that's being put out.
Right.
You know what I mean? He wanted to come to America in order to
more upset than
What'd you say? What'd you say?
I said he knew we was more upset than most people in the Caribbean. We were surrounded by white folk, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So he wanted to learn from Booker T.
Yeah.
Because that was what his idea, even to better Jamaica, and to better black people. That was what he was all about.
He became a separatist.
Who?
Marcus. He wanted the dipset. He was like, let's get up out of here.
Remember this article? You ever seen this?
This was a Negro by blood. That's
Reverend Webb. That's the same James Morris Webb.
Gotcha.
Because what I'm trying to say is that these ones, you saw the other article said 1920, 1929. So he was preaching this universal king idea, and you could see in his articles he was talking about even Ethiopia.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very important book, if ones and ones don't have a copy of it. It's called The Black Man.
Yes. This was the birth of the Black Messiah. I did a paper on this. The birth of what we consider the Black Messiah, even though, it's a broader spectrum, the focus came from the inspiration of seeing, Haile Selassie and the Ethiopian bloodlines of the Solomonic dynasty.
Wow, because remember, this is all the 19 teens and the 1920s.
Right. So we're talking about the expanse of time that even influenced African Americans in the diaspora and Caribbean Americans in the diaspora, even when Menelik II first won the War of Ottawa.
You see the cover of this right here?
Yes,
this is The Black Man. The fuller title is The Father of Civilization Proven by Biblical History. This is what he had published.
Wow.
And he had put out.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah, that's interesting, because that kind of reminds me of how what's his name? Elijah Muhammad, and he seems to predate what's his name? Farad. Right?
Oh no, yeah, Farad, that's a whole other. You see why I even mentioned that was to show how you see at that time when his Majesty on the scene, it's almost like how the Bible say that there'll be other like messiahs or wannabe messiahs, in a sense.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? Like there'll be other messiahs or there'll be false messiahs.
Yes, sir.
And on a certain level, we really have to look at this and say, like, okay, with what all of them were bringing, we could say probably was good or whatever, but it was like, if they really looked around, like even when Garvey proclaimed his majesty, later on he changed his mind.
Yes,
that's the same thing that happened to John the Baptist. Like if we ever have a reasonment on Garvey, and we want to get into like Garvey, I would like to do a presentation and work with the eye on doing a presentation. I like how the eye does that, the PowerPoint and the presentation and some ideas right there. But if you go to Matthew chapter 11, it settles the whole Garvey thing. So this is the man who actually first proclaimed, look to Africa where a black man be crowned king. In him, he said, in him you will find the Redeemer. Now that's different than what Garvey said about look to the east
for the coming of a black king.
Yeah, the day of redemption is near or something.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? You see, these statements were very much similar. And for a lot of black people, we would embrace it. You know what I mean?
You know how I deal with the whole Marcus, because a lot of people bring that up whenever I get into debates. And I'm already expecting, saying my next Haile Selassie debate, they're going to bring that same thing up. Like they've never watched any of my daggone videos, right? So, so when Marcus, basically, switches up, and goes Catholic, this is around the time where, I think, my presumption is that Marcus was expecting an immediate end to slavery in Ethiopia by Haile Selassie. But Haile Selassie knew that with America, the immediate Emancipation Proclamation left over 200 million. It's like 2 million. That's like 20 million. No, 200 million destitute African Americans who had to then go back as sharecroppers to the same slave masters that they, were just freed from. And on top of that, the government had given provisions, financial recompense to the slave owners. So they received reparations for losing the slaves, but the slaves never received any financial incentives that would have forwarded their ability to, you know what I'm saying, be, you know, progressive on their own. They had to go back to the same slave masters. Haile Selassie had a progressive move. So Marcus Garvey died in 1940, and Haile Selassie fully abolished slavery in 1942. Marcus Garvey missed the promised land.
Well, Marcus, speaking about Garvey, let's see right here. Let me see if I can put Marcus Garvey, see what comes up for Marcus Garvey.
Yes, I.
You know, if
I
we
know a
touch
lot of
on
people get upset when I say that, but you know, he kind of changed positions.
No, but he has his part to play, and what's very interesting,
Yes, I.
1940, and that's interesting because notice that in that same year, Reverend James Morris Webb, he also died in 1942.
Yes, I. Yes, I.
You know, as well. But Marcus is definitely a Black John the Baptist because when we think about the Baptists, what did the Baptists do? People confessed their sin, right? And then they went down in the water and came
he's
up.
Muslim. Yeah, he's
yeah. You know what I mean? but the idea of baptism is actually immersion.
This is washing. Yeah, it's dying to one thing and being reborn. It's risen up.
But also, it's a sense of immersing.
Yes.
Like it's not like sprinkling water like a shower, but when you get in a bathtub,
right, you get
go
dunked
all the way under.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
it's that full immersion. So like you can baptize yourself in something by immersing. Like somebody said, I got immersed in this book. I got immersed in this show. I got immersed in something. It's like you got totally wet. You know, you got fully wet. You know what I mean? In it. So he really got Black people fully wet, you know, about being Black people or the people about being Black on a certain level. But what he was doing, in a sense, was regurgitating the best of Black people because Black people were already on that vibration. It's almost like Marcus Garvey gave a platform for a Black consciousness.
For that audience,
He was almost like, who's that guy in boxing they call? What's his name?
Oh, like Don King.
He was like a Don King.
Yeah.
Of
He's
pro-Black.
bringing it to the forefront. Yes,
Yeah, of pro-Black. What you call now? There's a rally. I don't know if you ever seen this picture. There's
grassroots. Yes, grassroots. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
There's this
rally. Brother Paul, he said, "Do you think Ethiopian slavery was only banned because of the name slavery?" No, not necessarily. Technically, America did not ban slavery. It just transformed into the penal system. If you understand anything about the 14th and 13th Amendment, you'll understand that slavery never really ended. You know what I'm saying? Servitude is something that has always persisted. Now, chattel slavery is something different. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead. You know what I'm saying? I just want to address the brother in the chat.
No. Thank you for addressing the brother. I'm trying to find this picture. I may have to go to our brother's site right here. Right? I may have to go to Rastafari Talmud. Right? Let's see. Do we have this here? Is this right here? Rastafari. Let's see. Hold on for a moment. Because there's a picture of a Garvey rally, and you see a member from like the Black Yehudi community. You know?
Are you talking about the one where they were holding up the picture of His Imperial Majesty and Marcus Garvey?
Yeah, you have that?
I had it. I don't know where to find it. Not on this computer. I would have to dig. But hold on, let me see, man. Yeah, that's I believe that's the Commandment Keepers out there in Harlem. I think it was 125th Street where the let me see, man.
Let's see.
I might have it somewhere.
Yeah, hold on for a moment. I'm trying to remember the site.
I know I put it in so many PowerPoints, but you know, after a while, my PowerPoints start disappearing. I have to freaking go back to the old videos.
Yeah. But in that picture there, you can see that that's a significant picture, and that's a picture that I think we need to get a better resolution of that one right there.
Yes, I.
You know,
Yeah, I've seen one that was done, and it was in color too. They had some kind of graphics that enhanced it a bit, and it looked really good. But yeah, that's the picture of I think that's Josiah Ford or one of or Matthews. Um, and they're holding up Haile Selassie like an ensign. I always use that in almost all of my presentations and debates on Haile Selassie. You know what I'm saying? I always have that image because I want to remind people that we predate One West, and that Haile Selassie was the ensign that reminded us, brought us back to all remembrance of who we were, and the regathering of the outcasts and dispersed of Israel. That is
aye.
You understand what I'm
Oh,
saying?
yeah.
Isaiah 7 verses 11 and 12.
Hold on for a moment right here. I'm trying to find this brother's site. Brother Ison, I don't know if the eye is still on, but if you can put your site in the chat. Put your site in the chat. I don't know right here. I'm not finding. I know we have Renaissance. Yeah. I think it was a Talmudim or Talmud, I think teaching. Yes, see right here. Yeah, I'm trying to find this other site. It's a very good site the brother put together over the years. Chant. But I know the picture is there as well. It was at one of the rallies, but you already described it there, but people can see it for themselves. It'll be even much more to be able to see that this representation was there, and that was at the time when you could say he fulfilled his John the Baptist kind of role. Because John the Baptist lost his head too. You know what I mean? John the Baptist lost his head. You know that, right?
Yes, I.
Yeah, John. Okay,
John
this
the
is
Baptist lost his head. Yep.
yeah. This is right here. Universal Ethiopian Anthem. You know, by Burrell and Ford. That was like UNIA. And that's the anthem that ones and ones pick up, and they attribute it to Garvey. Yeah, they attribute it to Garvey, but actually it came from a black Jew. You know what I mean? Who was linked to Ethiopia. Yeah. Pray the eye on not getting the name right there. Um, it was Midrashim, the Midrashim. Let's see right here, Midrashim right here. Let's see. Let me go to this and let's see if this pick up on it. Let's see. Midrashim. Let me see. Marcus Garvey. No pictures come up. Yeah. I have to get a link.
I found it.
You found it?
Yes, I did. I found it. The parade. Hold on. I'm gonna share it. I found it. Sometimes you gotta know the right words to put it.
Yeah.
Here it is. I'm sharing.
You sharing? Yeah. No. Do I have to do anything?
I'm sending it. I sent it. So you gotta look in the and I can enlarge it a bit too.
Okay, hold on for a moment. I don't see it there. Where's
You
supposed to be? Okay,
might
hold on.
take yours down first.
Okay.
You might turn yours off first and then look.
Okay, yeah. Add this to stage. There we go. There we go.
That's it right there.
There we go.
I see they're holding him up. Remember in the back in the day, I don't know if you went to a Pentecostal church. You ever go to a Pentecostal church?
Yeah, of course, man.
You ever heard that song? Oh, lift him up, lift him up.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. So you see.
Rastafari, you see me?
So notice in that picture they have Garvey right
And you
there.
got the Unaye holding up the Garvey, the guy, he's all, you know what I'm saying, in his regalia, you know what I'm saying, holding up the picture of Marcus Garvey, you know what I'm
And
saying,
His
very honorably,
Majesty.
and his Imperial Majesty. And you have, I believe that's Ford. That's not Ford. That's that I think that's Matthews.
I think that might be Matthews too. That's interesting.
That's Matthews with the yeah, with the shawl.
Yeah, I think definitely. I think you got it right there. That's Matthews.
And it says here, Marcus Garvey, head of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, Haile Selassie, Emperor of blah blah blah. Can't see what that says. Faith paid tribute to their hers in Harlem Sunday when they, yeah. So that's like, you know what I'm saying? That's history. This predates One West, y'all. This is Harlem, New York. Black Jews and a Negro Improvement Association. I believe there's Moorish Zionist Jews, not Moorish Zionist, you know what I'm saying, Moabites.
But they're about to become in
Yes.
1930. From 1930 on, they become the commandment keepers,
Yes.
congregation of the living God,
Ken.
Ethiopian Hebrews.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It's like they
That's right.
crossed over, just like the Israelites. The last place the Israelites were in the wilderness was in the plains of Moab. So we see that kind of Moorish connection with Moab, but then we cross over into the land, like you mentioned with Arnold Josiah Ford.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? Arnold Josiah Ford was over there, and there was also others, a community over there, and they only had gotten, it's like Mussolini and them, because of Mussolini's invasion. That community of black people and black Jews was removed.
Right.
So think about how early in the 1930s, this is even before Ethiopian World Federation, and I want to let them know that on Sunday the 21st, I think we're scheduling for like 1-ish. I'll get the exact time. We're gonna have a Zoom. I'll share it around on the YouTube, not the YouTube.
What's going on for Bingyites?
What are you talking, Bingyites?
What are you doing for the Earth Strong this year?
Oh yeah, well, this year Ethiopian World Federation first unit, we're gonna have a public, a public event on the 21st, like a couple of days before. But there's also some other events that are coming up, But I think the best time for the membership right now, worldwide membership is gonna be on Sunday. I think around like 1-ish, I'll send out the flyer for that, But one of the themes is like how he's like the modern day Messiah, and some will see it as the modern black Messiah, modern day black Messiah.
In his time, he shall show who is the only potentate.
When we look at everybody's plan, and we say whose plan was the better plan and the bigger plan, it was the Israelite and Ethiopian connection plan. That was the bigger plan.
No, Christ even said that. He prophesied it when he said that the queen shall rise up. The queen of the south shall rise up in judgment.
In judgment.
Why was it so significant for Christ to have made mention of that, even in the scriptures, for that to be written in?
Yep. That's interesting.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Save a copy of that picture there. What was that?
Yes, I. I'm gonna save it and then I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you.
Yeah, parade. That was the parade.
Yes, I.
Parade. You and I parade. Amsterdam News.
Parade reassemblant. Hold on, let me see if I can move this. Nope. Let me say that. I know I have that somewhere, but let me see here.
Yeah, but that's give thanks for that, man.
Oh, that's written in French. That's like in French. I can't even. Amsterdam News. Yeah, I don't see. See the
You see
site.
that? You see that? You see how
Yeah, I
some of
went
that,
to the site though. Yeah, I went to the site. I
and
can
we see
send
how,
it.
we see how that is that has to be in French.
Yeah,
You see,
that's
I
in front.
find that they be hiding a lot of stuff
I know,
among the
man.
nation because they know that we're gonna look around for it. So
Right,
in the English speaking, they don't really have that there. You have to go on a French site.
right.
You
In
know what I'm
order,
saying?
you know what I mean? Can't
That's
have
deep.
nothing nice, man.
That's deep because even the Amsterdam News don't seem to have it. You know,
That's
the
crazy.
Amsterdam News don't seem to have it, but definitely the Marcus Garvey, like if you read chapter 11 of Matthew chapter 11,
Yes, I.
and you read it with that understanding, and even what this picture shows right there,
Yeah, man.
the picture shows this is at the time when Garvey, recognized and did as John the Baptist did. He proclaimed, like this is this is him, Rastafari,
Yes, I.
right? But then, as time went on, remember this is back in what 1920 something.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 1920, 1927, 1928, or something like that. This is
You see
before.
that?
Remember, look at his garb. That crown picture. That's Ra. That's Negus. That's not emperor
Definitely,
yet.
definitely. Well,
Not
well, I know
emperor yet.
he sent messages to black people in the West.
Right.
Even there was a messenger that I read in one.
That's a different crown. That's the king's crown, not the emperor's crown.
True. Yeah,
That's not the
yeah,
triple crown right there.
yeah. So that must be, maybe that's what. When was
That's like
Garvey?
27, 28 or something.
That's
It had to
mad
be like right
interesting. Yeah,
before he was crowned Negus Nagasti.
because he was yeah 19. When does all the two pass? In 1928.
Mm. Yes, I.
Yeah, 1928. And then
See, this is how
1929.
that's how you break something down. You look and you know that crown, the image right here,
Yeah, that's a good
that's
point.
pre-emperor. That's
Good point
pre-emperor.
there. That's a good point there. Good observation. Good eye on that. Because then that means that he wouldn't have been wearing that crown
Yes, sir.
while the Empress Zorditu was still.
Was still in power.
Yeah. So this must be like 1929.
Yes, I.
But then when was Garvey? When was Garvey? When was
What was his
Garvey?
position then? I'm not sure, man. I can't call it. You know.
Yeah,
I know,
yeah.
but
When was
even
Garvey?
Pearson would break it down at
Let's
that
ask
time.
this.
Yeah.
When was Garvey deported?
I'm not sure. Ooh, that's interesting.
Because this is what we get the link with when the message reached like the Caribbean, reached Jamaica.
Yeah.
Garvey was, let's see, when was he deported? Garvey was, well, here it says he was deported to Jamaica in November 1927.
Uh-huh.
So this is kind of interesting because, like you point out,
Right.
that crown, I know that picture. The picture that's there. I know that picture. Yeah, we need to find the picture, the modern picture of that right there.
Right.
Because, like, could that rally have been when he was not there? You see what I'm saying?
I
Could
think
that
this is.
rally?
I think this is. I think this is pre. This is pre World War II. This is pre Italian.
Yeah. That's it. That's sometime in the 20s.
Yeah.
I would say sometime in the 20s. And
so this is even before he was attacked that they were citing him up as a black messianic.
I didn't even read the rest of that book, man. The other one, The Black Jews of Harlem. This is this is what they say on page. I have to take a picture of this and show so you can have this for the debate. On page
Okay.
19, they say that at court, right? Okay. Let me bring it down to here. The whole thing. Here's a full of this, right? This is from this book called "The Black Jews of Harlem" by Howard M. Broads, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they say that the second point is that they are descendant of the union between King Solomon and the Queen of Sheba, who founded a line of Ethiopian Hebrew kings from Menelik I down to Haile Selassie, the line of Judah, who is covertly a Hebrew. This is what the book says, right?
Right.
Of the three sons of Noah, Shem and Ham were black. Now that's interesting because we look at some of the Rabbi Eliezer. I don't know if you've seen that, where they say that Shem is black.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Were black, and only Japheth, the ancestor of the Gentiles, was white.
Right. Right.
Thus, King Solomon was a black man. After the Queen of Sheba became his wife, in a marriage ceremony taking 6 months, she returned to Ethiopia pregnant with the understanding that the child, if a boy, would be returned to Jerusalem for bar mitzvah, and they say confirmation.
Right.
At the age of 12, Menelik, the son, did come back and remain in Jerusalem until he was 25, it says. His father, realizing that designs were being made upon the young prince's life, gave him a company of men with whom to go to Ethiopia. The priests who accompanied the young prince deceived Solomon and carried away with them the original tables of the law instead of the copy that the king had prepared. They are to be found this very day at Aksum. Menelik I was the first king of Israel in Ethiopia, from whom Haile Selassie, the line of Judah, traces his descent in an unbroken line of 613 kings. Now, what I'm reading here is actually Wentworth Arthur Matthew being interviewed by this writer concerning the Black Jews of Harlem. And here's his testimony about Haile Selassie and this link with the prophecy.
So we understand that Haile Selassie was intricately linked to Black Judaism during the 1920s, the 1930s, 1940s, 1960s, and to present.
And here it says that Haile Selassie, he says, this is what Wentworth, I believe that the one wearing the talit, the one wearing the white, and the mitre on the head, and the talit, the prayer shawl, I believe that would be Wentworth Arthur
Matthews.
I
he says
so.
That's his testimony. That's his guess.
This book, what I'm reading.
Yeah.
The Black Jews of Harlem by Howard M. Broads.
Okay.
In fact, I could pull that up so that ones and ones can see this right here and maybe get a copy. I send out that picture right there. That's a powerful picture right there.
Yes, sir. I'm going to send it to you.
Okay, so let's see the Black Jews of Harlem, right? Let me get this. So when you hand it back over, of Harlem, right? Black Jews. Okay, they already have it in there. I guess we and a lot of other people, Now it's interesting. The AI, they got this whole AI overview. You returned what you call Ty? For a moment, I want to share this right here with the people.
Say it again. You want me to stop sharing?
Yeah, give thanks. Okay. I got to go through this thing again. Let me just to share this phone. Right there we go. Right there. Okay. Here we go. Right here. Let's see. Where okay. To present slides. Hold on. Share screen. Okay. Yeah, I'm just getting this. Here we go. I got it. Yeah. Okay. Here. Okay. You see this here? Yeah. So here, this is, I just looked up Black Jews of Harlem. So I want to show you all the book right here. So notice what they say: Black Jews or Black Hebrew Israelites. I don't know why they put it like that, because the people didn't really identify themselves as Black Hebrew Israelites. That's a more modern kind of phraseology, you know? But this is an AI overview. I don't know if you see that there, right? Because now when you go Google search, sometimes they'll give you the search, sometimes they'll give you this AI overview. You see it? Y'all see it?
Yes, sir.
So here it says a minority ethnic group in New York City who first appeared in Harlem in the early 1900s. By the 1930s, there were at least four distinct groups of Black Jews in Harlem, including, here we have the Commandment Keepers, Holy Church of the Living God. I don't know why they say Holy Church, Commandment Keepers, um, Congregation of the Living God, founded by Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthew, who believed the black people were the ancient were of ancient Israelite descent. And then there was Beth Benai Abraham, look, founded by Rabbi Arnold Ford at 459 Lenox Avenue. And then there's Morris Zionist Temple, founded by Rabbi Mordecai Herman. That's the one that was in the other picture, right, in 1921. And Ever Live, right, may have begun as early as 1917 under the leadership of Elder W. Robinson. So look, so from our digging over time, we're able to find that there's at least, you know what I mean, four different distinct groups in this time period. You know, the one that would kind of survive on would be the Commandment Keepers, Congregation of the Living God, or they say Holy Church right here. You know, but the
So,
one that you showed in the picture, that was a more Zionist temple. That was
yeah,
Rabbi Mordecai Herman, 1929, and then the one that we know of is Rabbi Arnold Josiah Ford, right? That was the Beth Benai, you know, the house of the sons of Abraham. He called it
okay.
Beth Benai Abraham. But the interesting one is the one that they say ever live, because that goes back to 1917. You know, let's see if I
Damn.
can get the book. Here's a book right here, y'all. Here's the book right here. This is the book
Mhm.
right here.
Black Jews at home. Yes, sir.
This is the book I'm reading from. So if anybody get like a snapshot, a screenshot of this, you know, this particular
Mhm.
book right here, right? This book right here. So I'm on, actually, what page I'm on? I'm on page 19 right now. And so here, this is all from Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthew. He said Haile Selassie's connection with the Coptic Church is due to diplomatic pressure from Britain, which requested in 1896, after the Ethiopian-Tian War, that all kings coming to the Ethiopian throne be Coptic Christian. Now, that particular statement of his, I put a question mark on it, but it's interesting all the same. But this is the main part that I think we need to take notice. He says, however, the court at Addis Ababa is closed for business on Friday afternoons and all day Saturday. No chozier or pork is eaten at his palace, and he follows the falasha ritual. This is the understanding of our people concerning Haile Selassie and Ethiopia and Israel connection back in the 1920s, you know, the 1920s and 30s. Then he says this right here. He says Haile Selassie is the present day king of the house of Israel. And this is proof that David should never lack a black man to sit upon the throne of Israel. When Mussolini overran the country, Haile Selassie stopped at Jerusalem to pray in Hebrew before proceeding to the League of Nations. And now here's the last part. He says, it is from Addis Ababa that I derive my authority as the head of the black Jews in the United States. He says, we are Africans or Ethiopian Hebrews. So that's like a direct quote It said
Yes,
to
sir.
I quote in this book from um, Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthew, the Commandment Keeper.
Yes,
And,
sir.
and they also had a thing called a royal order. You know, I don't know if you know about that, like the royal order of the Ethiopian Hebrews. You'll see
Wow.
that in one of their windows, right? I don't know if we could find one of their windows, but this is also the book right here. If
Wow.
anybody can get a copy of this right here, you
Yes,
know,
sir. Yes, sir.
that's it right there. Just to
Yes,
kind of show like where our link, even as Rastafari,
uh-huh.
keeping it Torah observant,
Yes, sir.
means that as Rastafari, we have to see how all of this kind of led to even
The root.
yeah the movements like out of Jamaica, because I already showed you the connection with James Morris Webb
Yes,
and
sir.
what he was prophesizing. So in that clip that we read from Rabbi Wentworth Arthur Matthew, he said that David would never lack a black man,
Uh-huh.
because already before that, in the early 20s, you had one preaching like James Morris Webb, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
about the universal black king, you know, and a black king coming, you know, and he's a
Right.
preacher.
This is the birth. That's what I said. This is what gave rise to the Black Messiah movement. You know what I'm saying? And it was absolutely Haile Selassie the whole time. This was what gave the new face to when white Jesus started turning to black Jesus.
And see, this is where the book of Enoch comes in. I like to actually show the book of Enoch. You know, there's a passage in the book of Enoch where it speaks about I think I might have that picture. Hold on for a moment. I think I might have that picture here.
Come on.
Let me see if I can go to my gallery right here. And let me see some of the pictures right here. I might have that picture. If it's not here, I don't know why it should be over there. This is like sometime for the screensavers, you know, some of the
Yeah.
pictures here. You know, I'm just trying to find this one. I don't know if I have this one, if I did it on this machine, you know, oh, there we go. There we go right there. There we go. Read that right there.
The
That is,
Ethiopic book of Enoch speaks of the Messiah, second advent. We have a Messiah coming forth from the bosom of the community. He is a man, only yet a glorified man, and superior to the community from which he springs.
now this right here is from the Ethiopic book of Enoch. Now I noticed I didn't, that was a quote, like a kind of description of passages in Enoch that seems to speak about a Messiah who would be the son of David. Remember, David called Yeshua Lord, right? Didn't David call Yeshua Lord?
Yes, I.
Does His Majesty call Yeshua Lord?
Yes, I.
Okay, so that prophecy fulfilled.
My Lord. You see me?
You know what I'm saying? Because that's what it says right there. But they were thinking that, in other words, they were thinking that the Messiah, son of David, instead of the Messiah, son of Joseph.
Yeah, man.
You see, because the book of
Yes.
Enoch breaks that down, and that was the understanding of messiahship. They were like two schools of
Right.
thought.
Now, did you ever read that thing from Maimonides?
Oh, Maimonides,
Maimonides, yes. It
which thing?
says, okay, here's the quote. If a ruler will arise from the house of David, who diligently contemplates the Torah and observes its mitzvot as prescribed by written law and oral law, as David their ancestor will compel all Israel to walk in the way of the Torah and rectify the breaches in its observance and fight the wars of Yahweh, we may with assurance consider them Mashiach. Here's the second part. If
Wow.
they succeed in the above, builds the temple in its place and gathers the dispersed of Israel, they are definitely the Mashiach. They will improve the entire world motivating all nations to serve Yahweh together. Kumbaya, my
Amen.
Lord. That's
Amen. Amen. Kumbaya.
yes.
Yes, sir. Rastafari. No, for real. Yo, you gotta
Yes,
send
sir.
me that right there.
Yes, sir.
That right there, that clip from my Maimonides right there.
Yes, sir.
It actually brings out what Enoch says concerning the second advent.
Can.
You know what I mean? Because the first two advents were already fulfilled.
Yes, sir.
You had around, if it was 33, if that's the date they go with, 33 AD when Pentecost came. Remember when Christ was talking about that kingdom?
Yeah, man.
That was the entry in Pentecost. And then the next coming was in 70 AD, where he talked about armies surrounding Jerusalem.
Yes, sir.
Because remember when he said that that they would see the prophecies in their lifetime?
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know,
and there was a scripture. It said, I think it was John chapter 16, where it said, and he would show you. Right? It was talking about the comforter. And when it says that it's like specific, like he would show you, like you would visibly see it historically, be able to, you know.
Well, when it speaks about the coming, there's an appearance to show. You know what I mean?
Come
To
on.
show, like
Yes, sir.
in 33 AD when the Holy Spirit came, right? That's that kingdom. You know, those who are of the Spirit are of the kingdom. You
Yes,
know what I
sir.
mean? Like those who are like before Rastafari used to speak about like vibes and vibration, you know, and
Yes, sir.
vibes. You know, like man and man reasoning and thinking the same thing at the same time. They're like in the same heavens. You know,
Yes.
that idea of being in the same heavens. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yeah,
And,
man.
and although one can't prove it to other people, anybody who's on that frequency, you know you're on that frequency.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Anybody who's in the spirit know they're in the
Yeshua, right?
spirit. Huh?
Even with Yeshua, even with all the miracles that were professed and witnessed by those who were around him and his good works, you know what I'm saying? There were still those who doubted. And so this is why I always say, you know, that extra natural, you know what I'm saying? It's not the supernatural where people are seeing, you know, magical things from some kind of sci-fi, you know what I'm saying, fantasy. But however, you know what I'm saying, the fulfillment of prophecy is no less mystic in its extra natural revelation. You understand what I'm saying? And those who had eyes to see would see it. You know?
True. Definitely. What ones are looking forward to, or what really is to happen, is the judgment of the nations and the judgment of Babylon.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's only in the Father's mercy that it's not already.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
you know,
Didn't it say he would judge? He would bring what did it say? And he would judge the nations. Right? Hold on, where is that?
But that judgment is given. Who judges? The Father gives all judgment to who? Who does the Father give the judgment to, according to the Scripture? To the Son.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
The Father gives that judgment to the Son. So if people talk about the coming of Christ, you mean the coming of judgment?
Yes, I. Right. So remember this too. There is no judgment without two witnesses, two or three, right? And we remember in 1 John, it says, 1 John chapter 5, verses 7, I believe, 6 or 7, right? It says that there are three in heaven who bear record. What is a person who bears record? It's a witness. Somebody who's writing and recording, documenting, like my brother Paul said in the chat, right? Documenting. Remember how Haile Selassie had taken that video? He said, I am glad that you are here in my palace gardens today to record this picture of me.
Yep.
Right? So we have a second witness. And you know what happens after that second witness? That's when the judgment comes. right? Because there is no judgment. I believe that's Deuteronomy 6. There is no judgment without 2 or 3 witnesses. And so no one is condemned to death or to, to the letter of the law unless there was someone to witness the crime thereof. Right? We even use that today in the modern legal system, in the modern justice system. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Yes,
The 2 or 3 witnesses. No, I just
yes.
want to share this one right here. Remember when Paul said, "But y'all receive me as an angel of God, even as Christ Jesus." Jesus. You know what I mean? Isn't it interesting how Paul said that right there?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because to all the believers, Yeshua was with them, was in them.
Yes, was in them.
Because of the Spirit.
He said it himself. He said, I and the Father, so shall I be in you, and the same unity I have with the Father, right? I pray that ye will also have.
Exactly.
And that's that I and I. You see me? You know what I'm saying? Through that shalishi.
Of the Shalishi, Hashalush Hakadosh.
Yes,
For real, we didn't even, all we got to was Balak, but we pick up on it. But the Balak is yeah, and then we have Balaam. And Balaam is an interesting reason. You ever deal with a metaphysical Bible dictionary?
Yes. Well, you put me onto it. I haven't really delved into it that deeply yet because I'm still in the middle of my coursework, but I'm about to dig into
it. Man. Well, this Torah portion is interesting for a lot of reasons right there. The Balak Torah portion reading. And, on the whole Marcus Garvey thing, I really would advise if one would really understand the Marcus Garvey relation to His Majesty, the true heights of it, and the depths of it. Matthew chapter 11, when read in light of John the Baptist and Jesus Christ and Yeshua HaMashiach. Because when you can see that right there, it really puts it into kind of a context.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so therefore Garvey had his work, but here's what's interesting is that after the crucifixion, death, burial, resurrection, ascension, after that, Paul runs into these ones and he asks them into what were you baptized? And they say they were baptized into John's baptism, but they didn't know about the Holy Spirit.
Right.
Isn't that kind of interesting right there?
Right. They didn't know about the highly ghost.
You know what I mean?
No, even Muhammad said he didn't know about the spirit of truth.
Oh, Muhammad's a whole different character.
He didn't even know what the spirit of truth was. So when people try to say that Muhammad was the comforter, I object.
No. That was like, the Mohammedans lied to the Ethiopians. We got to bring that reasonment forward.
Man. Yes,
the Mohammedans lied to the Ethiopians. You know what I'm saying?
He saved their keisters, you know what I'm saying, when they were being, persecuted. They ran to Ethiopia.
Yeah, but it was like under like false
pretense.
Yeah. Dr. York put something out before he really went totally mad.
Dr. York.
Huh? What you said?
That's the fire bun, Dr. York. A baby touch of that. Now bun the bomb buckler, boy.
Well, he get burned, but I know he was taking and stealing a lot of people's research.
Yeah. Oh, so he got sued by the Church of Scientology for the Ashtar Command and stuff in that one about aliens and the Anunnaki. He stole that directly from L. Ron Hubbard. He got sued. Half of his books were taken from movies and from any little thing that he could gather.
But there was something that he said about the Islam thing. I get the eye on that.
The Ansars.
The Ansar
of Somalia, right? Or was it Somalia? Yeah, because he said his father, he claims that his father was a chieftain of the Ansar tribe
Oh yeah. Then he claimed in the book is Haile Selassie Christ that
Yes.
his
Right. That's
master was responsible.
that is scroll 29. Scroll 29, y'all.
Scroll 29. But in another printing, you know, we know who was really doing the work. It was a lot of sisters doing the work.
Yeah.
Like he would basically tell
the artistry was,
the artistry is a sister too.
I can't lie, to this day, some of it is hilarious. The Yaku.
Oh no, that Yakub stuff, man. Yo, that I want to beat the brakes off that whole Yakub stuff because
but some of the images of Solomon and Sheba were dope. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, some of the Old Testament, like that whole thing went through its own phases.
I mean, they had the Barry White waves. You know what I'm saying?
But
but overall was pretty fire.
Yeah, but I think after they moved from Brooklyn, they were doing some shiesty stuff too. But
yes,
there was some things there was some things that seemed commendable, like during that time. You know what I mean? But then it's almost like if you watch the whole career, it's like somebody losing their mind. Yeah, but I believe that's because
behind the scenes. There was a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. What they were doing out in the streets and stuff didn't reflect what was really going on inside their compounds.
And when he came out trying to diss Haile Selassie, if you notice, in the early days, he was using Haile Selassie as great African leaders, great black leaders.
Right.
You know what I mean?
He put him in that picture that his own version of the Last Supper, where he's like at the center of the table.
Yeah. Of course, he's gonna put himself up there like that. The next good book for ones and ones is this book right here.
Yes, I
think.
Yes, I.
I think is one of Dr. Ben's best books.
Yes, I.
Like that's useful to
I
ones
just
like
posted
us.
that on my Facebook page the other day. Yeah, I posted that up.
Yeah, because this particular book is good because what Dr. Ben does very well is he compiles a lot of historical research that apart from this, we probably wouldn't have access to. You know what I mean? Apart from this, like all in one place, like a lot of like newspaper articles, other kind of things that are historical that can give us like, little like fragments to like kind of put together. Because a lot of this, we're the generation to put these things together.
That's what I'm learning in history now. You know what I'm saying? How, a lot of times people think that history is stagnant and you look at one time period after another, but you don't look at a spectrum, you know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, 1866 to present and how specific historic events, colored and shaped the way our world is today. You know what I'm saying? It's a tapestry, really of historic, monumental events that most people miss. And the Bible touches this all through the Bible. That's what really the Bible is. It's kind of an anthropological book in a sense, like my brother Craig Scruggs says all the time. Extract anthropological truths from the book, historic, cultural ideas. You know what I'm saying?
How people told their stories. How people told their own stories.
How they viewed the world. You know what I'm
saying? It's not a history book like in the sense of like chronological.
Right.
Sometimes it's just like it's almost like when we be telling each other things that happen.
Yes.
Sometimes as we tell the story is not chronological. Right. But it's like certain themes we're trying to get a certain point across by what we cite and how we cite it. And then later on you'd be like, okay, so what you're telling me is, and now we try to rearrange the story, in a more chronological level. But when the witness is telling their own story, they're highlighting what they recall.
Right.
You know what I mean? For a witness to say they went through all of this and that and tell it in a chronological way, that'll become somewhat forced.
Right.
It loses the spirit of it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when somebody tell you something that happened, yo, what happened? Yo,
you're gonna jump from one thing, saying you're gonna say like this, like saying, so this is what happened, how it started off. But mind you, prior to that, right? So now I'm going back to give you to give you a little salt and pepper on how this whole thing began to transpire, but I'm gonna jump all the way, you know what I'm saying, close to the end, you know what I'm saying, why, you know what I'm saying, you feel what I'm saying? So yeah, absolutely. We, you know what I'm saying, we like, it's like, you know, with the Most High, time is shapeless. You know what I'm saying? It really is shapeless. And so, you know, the past and the present sometimes merge. Well, most time merge. Past, present, and future. Hence why you know the prophecy, you know, was so poignant and oftentimes was dual prophecy. You would see something happen in one time and also foreshadowing the rest of what would be fulfilled in a later time, like with Deuteronomy 28 verses 68. You see a little bit of that with Moses in the Exodus, but it didn't fully shape that because they weren't really there for 400 and, you know what I'm saying, 30 years. They was in,
were they?
Yeah, no, they was in the wilderness for part of that. There was like 215 years they were in the wilderness, you know what I'm saying, between Abraham, you know what I'm saying, leaving out of Chaldea and you know, going into Egypt, and then Joseph going into Egypt, and then another 215 years of captivity. So they weren't even captives for the whole 430.
No, but it doesn't even say that they were captives.
They were strangers. They were in the land of strangers.
And that they were in the sojourn in Egypt.
Right.
So all the experience, right. The whole experience was not like captivity.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's a point that has to go
even out. Look at how they left Egypt. They left Egypt with all of their gold and riches. So they earned something, right? It wasn't like chattel slave 400 and, you know what I'm saying, chattel slavery and Jim Crow.
True. But I think the important thing is that,
so that's why they say that Deuteronomy 28, pardon self, that Deuteronomy 28 doesn't fully fit the criteria that was met, that was in Exodus.
No, but I argue against that. I know what you're saying. Okay. That's the popular. That's
the popular thinking. One West. That's one
consensus. But that's also a consensus scholarship.
Yeah,
some of the consensus. Yeah, the academics and some of the camps also hold to that view, and I would challenge that based on what the scripture is saying.
Okay, that's right.
But one thing I agree with you on is that there is a period of time under what we could say bondage. But it doesn't use the word captivity, but bondage. We have to understand
bondage.
What bondage is.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Even that point you mentioned right now is a good kind of point. Maybe, you know, one more point, because I know it's getting into the early hours for ones and ones.
Yes, sir.
But that point about bondage, you see right here is the commandment keepers, where they was teaching like the, you know, the children the language. And it's interesting because back in the 1920s and the 1930s, we had Black people learning Hebrew and Black people learning Amharic. That's interesting. You know, right here. Let's look at bondage right here. Let's look at bondage right here for a moment, because this might be like a little relative to us right now, as we just have a kind of a vibes in right here. You know, bondage, right? A bondage right here. So here we go, bondage. Now the first mention of bondage in the King James Version is in Exodus chapter 1, verse 4. This is the basic read. I got the Strong's word highlighted. You know, it says, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field, all their service wherein they made them serve with rigor, right? With rigor, right? Now the word was is not there. It just said that with rigor. Now, with rigor is an interesting word. It's the word perek. Now, perek can also be read as ferek. Now, I don't know if ones know that the term Africa, according to linguistics, can be linked to an Afro-Semitic term that's found in Arabic that can mean like Afrika, like Afrik, like ferek. Ferek mean like to separate, to divide. and also in Amharic ferek. But here we have perek. Perek is like hardness, severity, cruelty. But let's look at this word for bondage. Bondage is aboda, like aboda in modern Hebrew, they'll say like avoda, avoda. Now, what's interesting about this word is when the priests serve, the priests do avoda. They do aboda. Aboda, aboda is like aboda is like service labor. So it's basic
Right.
service labor. It can be the service of servants. The priest's work is called aboda or
Abu.
aboda. You
And in
know,
the Islamic is Abu or Abu, Abdul.
oh no, well that's a root word like ebed. Okay, go down here, right here. They say it's from the word abad.
Abba,
Abad mean this is the verb right here. The verb is abad, and the noun is
Abba,
ebed. Ebed, like in the Hebrew, ebed. Yeah, like yeah, yeah, like abdu and all that. Like
Abdul.
yeah, the abdu. That's in the Arabic. But notice right here. You see right here, one of the meanings of the abad to serve is worshiper. You see right here is worshiper. Now the basic meaning here, Strong's. Here's how you read Strong's. Remember, this is the verb. So the verb is abad, right? The noun is ebed. Ebed is like a servant or obed, right? Here
Yes,
we have a primitive root to work. You see the words that are italic? The
yeah,
italics tell you the key word. So the key sense of this is like work in any sense. The implication is to serve or to till, right? Because first used with Adam in the garden. There was no man to work the garden, no man to be a ebed of the garden, right? And then it's also can mean, you see, they have enslave here or in bondage. So we look at this word, a husbandman, someone who serves a field, is ebed, right? You know,
mhm.
so there's a positive and a negative sense to this word. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So, in the sense of it says right here, it tells us exactly what kind of bondage they were in. Let's look at the Hebrew really quickly right here. If we look at the Hebrew, let me go back right here. Oh man, let's go over here again, and let's go to view more. Let's go to compare. Okay, the Hebrew right here. Right. Let me go down to the Tanakh. The Tanakh right here. The Tanakh. Everybody the Tanakh. Right? And here's the Hebrew right here. So it says, why Maru et Hayahem, and embittered their Hayahem, their lives, Ba Avoda. Ba Avoda, modern Hebrew, Ba Avoda, Ba Aboda, in Aboda, right? Kasha. Kasha is this word right here. Kasha. You see that word Kasha. Kasha, let's scroll down here to Kasha. Kasha, right, is from Kasha, right? The verb Kasha. Kasha is more as an adjective, like hard, cruel, obstinate, rigorous. You see the adjective to severe, right? So it's not that just that they were in like they had work, but that somebody, somebody say you working somebody to death. You know what I mean? In that sense. It's not that they're just doing a job, but you're like overworking them, right? It says be homer, right? In mortar, u be lebanim, lebanim, lebanim. It sounds like Lebanon. Lebanim means white, right? But here it means like
Yeah,
white.
right.
You know what I mean? So the word for white is interesting because Lebanon, right? Lebanon, right here, Lebena. Lebena means tile brick, right? Pavement. But where does it come from? It comes from the word brick, whiteness, the whiteness of clay. Laban, look at Laban. You remember? They say Jacob made the white man. If I could crush that with Hebrew
Laban.
knowledge.
Laban was the one of the fathers, right? Or one of the
Look,
wives.
look what Laban's name means to be white, right? And that can have a positive, right, or even a negative sense, Laban, right? Because you can be
Laban
white.
was here when the mother, father, he worshipped a different God, right?
Well, yeah, he had a different, like, kind of a different
Was it
theology.
Rebecca's father?
Um, Rebecca's brother
Okay.
is Laban, Rebecca's brother. You know what I mean? So she sent Jacob to go to her brother, her brother's house, right? To marry like one of his daughters. You know what I mean? That's the whole Rachel thing, and you remember how he shysted him out of his payment and everything. So here it's basically saying right here, Uber call aboda, right? Uber call aboda basada, and in all the work of the field, et call abod uh, abodatam, their labor, their service, Asher abdu, that they work, Bahem in them, bifarek was in rigor. You know what I mean? It was like rigorous. But now when we look at this, we'll think that they were just working, like work. But since this word can also mean spiritual, like worship too. So the Israelites wasn't just in working bondage, like being worked to death, but they also were in the Egyptian religious system, and that was the
Right.
second level of aboda. Remember the word aboda right here, it can mean work. In this sense, it's going
Right.
down here to strong, any
Right.
kind of work.
Service.
But look at this word right here, ministering. So when the
Ministering.
priests minister, the priest's work is their aboda. Their abodah is their work. The same word that's used elsewhere for bondage, because the word basically means work. But now, if you're working under somebody else's thing, then bondage can come into it. Because what it said that they were working with rigor and hard labor. Remember the abodah kasha, right? That hard labor, that rigorous labor. But they also were caught up in the religious ideas, if you understand me, right there, the religious ideas of the Tawi, of the two lands, right? And that's also what they were delivered from. They were delivered from serving, because we can look at the ten plagues and see connection with some of the gods that were worshipped in ancient Egypt. I know this is not a popular kind of subject
Right.
matter, because we think like, okay, it's a black,
No.
yeah,
Right.
it's a black culture,
Right.
but it's like, how can I say, if I if if I'm a Hebrew, black Hebrew, but there's a white Jewish group that is very kind of like, ultra orthodox in their own kind of way, and I say I'm a Yehudi, I'm a Jew, that don't mean I have to worship their way. Now, if they force me to worship that their way,
Right.
isn't
It
that
becomes
like
a
a
burden.
bondage?
Right.
That's a bondage. That's a
Right.
bondage.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
It's
So there's
servitude. Right.
it's almost like servitude to white Jesus in that sense. And for black people, think that when they're gonna go to the pearly gates, you know what I mean? Like, and that in this life they're black, but then when they go to the pearly gates, they're gonna be white if they accept it. You know what I'm saying? These kind of ideas is that spiritual, that bondage. You know what I mean? There's bondage that's physical, and there's bondage that's spiritual. Now, if the first part of the Israelite sojourn was basically good under Joseph, according to the Bible, right? It was good under Joseph, right? And then after Joseph died, according to the Bible, it says there rose up a king that didn't know Joseph, and then things got bad, for these ones that came in under Joseph. So they didn't enter into Egypt because the Egyptians took them in captivity. They went there, you could say willingly and at a good time, So the first part of the sojourn was a good sojourn. The main part of something, like if you go into a
Right.
situation and the first
Right.
part is good for you, but
Right.
later on the latter part is bad, you
Right.
probably gonna only be talking about the bad,
Mm-hmm.
because it was so good in the beginning, then it turned bad. You know what I mean? The
Right.
psychic shock of that. It's like, man. you know. And later on, after you calm down, you might be like, yeah, but there was at first it was like not like that. You know what I mean? Like you're in a situation at first, it's not like that. So that's why when we get to Exodus, we start to see this kind of whole bondage thing. But a lot of people are thinking that the bondage was physical labor, but the bondage was also spiritual labor. That's why the Israelites had to wander for 40 years. Notice every time something bad was happening, they're like, yo, let's go back to Egypt. You know what I mean? And even when ones like Korah and some of the other Israelites rose up against Moses and Aaron, what was that
Huh.
about?
Right.
Because they recognized in the Israelite worship there were elements that they were familiar with. Why do you think the two brothers got burned? I believe the two brothers got burned because usually after they have sacrifice, that the next point is the incense. But what they didn't do, and they got burned for it, is that Yah did not say how it was supposed to be burned, and they went ahead and did it. You know what I mean? Like you're in a religious service, and usually at this
Right.
point of a certain religious service, they would do this. But we're in a new thing now where we're being instructed about each aspect of it. So you think after a while, yeah, I know this already. So the next thing is this thing that goes on, but you didn't wait for the instruction. You know what I mean? Because the Israelites, some of the Israelites were priests. You know that too, right? Some of the Israelites were priests from the time of Joseph.
That's right.
Because remember, Joseph, according to the Bible, is the one who legislate this whole legislation. And remember, we was talking about that the priest lands would not get taxed. Everybody's land could get taxed and taken when there was a famine in Genesis, except the priest lands. You know what I mean? So some of the Israelites also were priests. You know what I mean? Because of Joseph. Joseph was a type of priest. You know what I mean? So when Joseph made this new legislation in Egypt, he made it so that the priest lands were not taxed. So like Pharaoh could touch everything in Egypt, but Pharaoh could not touch what belonged to the priest.
They even consider Joseph a pre messianic like prototypical Messiah. And they usually go between, like what I read from some, like, Torah scholars, is they usually use Joseph as a model and David as a model. Between those two, when it comes to, like, the defining what a Messiah is. You know what I'm saying?
Well, definitely he was like if you think about the blessing that his father Jacob, Avinu Yaakov, gave to the sons, he gave to Joseph a very interesting blessing. And remember, he took two of Joseph's sons for his own sons. You remember in the wilderness, the tribe of Levi was not a part of the regular count of the tribes. Levi did not get any portion, right? So listen, you have 12 tribes, right?
Right.
12 tribes, but that's not including Levi. A lot of Israelites don't do this math right here. You had 12 tribes when they came out of Egypt, but this is not including Levi. Remember, Joseph was not a tribe.
Right.
Joseph was not a tribe. He had two sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, and Jacob said he took his two sons for his. And then we get the 12 tribes of Israel who are being numbered in the book of Numbers. And then we get the priests, the Levites, including the priests who are not numbered. You see what I'm saying? Because their service is separate. The 12 tribes are being numbered for war when they enter into the land of Canaan, but the priests are not part of that number. So actually, there's 13 tribes at one point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's 13 tribes because Levi is the Levites' inheritance is the Lord, is like the tabernacle.
Right.
But here's the part I wanted to show you here in Genesis 47:22. It says, only the land of the priests bought he not, for the priests had a portion, right, assigned them of Pharaoh, and did eat their portion which Pharaoh gave them. therefore they sold not their lands. So when we look at this over here, and you know what Joseph, he kind of makes this whole thing, and he sets this kind of legislation right here. It says, and Joseph made it a law. Joseph made it hawk. He made it a hawk, right? He made it a statute, a law over the land of Mitzrayim, the Tawi, the two lands, to this day that Pharaoh should have the fifth, except the land of the priests only became not Pharaoh's. So I want to submit to you, said the priests or the princes. So was Joseph and the Israelites like priests? 'Cause remember, Jacob blessed Pharaoh. Remember, Jacob had blessed Pharaoh. Remember when they saw Jacob, they were like,
Yeah.
wow, you're so old. How old are you? It's almost like at that time, they never really seen a really old man, or when they saw an old man, it was a wonderful thing. So they saw
Right.
Jacob and they was like, how old are you? And the Pharaoh starts to reason with him. And then before he leaves the great house, Pharaoh, right, which means the great house, before he left the great house and whatever king there was, he blessed the great house. It says he blessed Pharaoh. So think about that for a moment.
Yeah.
Who usually is the one to bless? It's not a priest.
That's a priest.
It's a priest that does the blessing.
Right.
You know what I mean? We as the people, you know, we are called. The priest is the one that say, "Bless you all, the Lord."
Right.
You know what I mean? And we say that he is blessed. What we say is that he is blessed. Baruch. We say Baruch, right? When the priests say Baruch, right? Bless y'all. You know, Yahweh. We say Baruch. We say he is blessed. You see what I'm saying? In a sense, we're not really blessing him because what does it say? Without exception, the less is blessed of the better.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But we bless him by increasing his glory, his honor, you know, his kingdom. So here's just to show you that Joseph had made a statute or a hawk, right, which is a statute or ordinance. You know, this is interesting because hawk comes from hakak, and hakak means to engrave. Think about it for a moment. In Egypt, didn't they engrave things? So it says he made it. The word hakak means to hack, to engrave, or to inscribe something. And it says law is being cut in stone or metal tablets in primitive times.
Mm-hmm.
So it said that Joseph in Egypt, he made it a hawk, right? A statute or a law. King James says law. That's not really, that's an incorrect translation there. He made a decree, or ordinance, a statute over the land of Mitzrayim, that the land of the priests, right, could not be taxable.
Yes, sir.
So I submit to you, maybe some of, because it seems when we get into Exodus, some of Pharaoh, this new king, and his people, they kind of hating on the Israelites.
Mm-hmm.
They're thinking like the Israelites, you know, got a good thing.
Right.
And remember, when the Israelites came in, they're coming off of a famine, right?
Yes,
and
sir.
Joseph puts them in the best lands, right? And Joseph schools them how to talk to Pharaoh.
Right.
When you talk to,
some kind of way. Yeah.
exactly. When you talk to Pharaoh, don't say you're shepherds. He tell them, don't say you're shepherds. Say you're cowherds. He say you're cowherds. In other words, you know, like cowboys or cowherds.
Right. So that separates them from what they call the Hyksos, right? Because they said the Hyksos technically meant sheep herders, right?
Well, the Hyksos were more like the Edomites. Biblically speaking, the Hyksos was more like the Edomites.
Mm-hmm.
But the Edomites was like a mixed group. I don't want you to think about it like some of the camps think the Edomites, like that. The modern Arabs,
right,
are like Edomites.
Right.
If you can receive it, they're really the Edomites.
Well, that's why when I say Saudi, you know what I'm saying, Saudi Arabia, you know what I'm saying, I say East Saudi. Esau.
Yeah. Esau, because remember, Esau, right? He married 2 Hittite women.
Mm-hmm.
Now the Hittites are Turkey. You know where Turkey is today?
Yes, sir.
The Hittites are there.
Yeah.
And now later on, we'll get the Ottomans.
Right? North or Eurasia.
Exactly. So if we study these people in history, we'll recognize that that these people, at least we know them today as being white peoples, like the Ottoman Turks were white peoples.
Well, some of
You
them were
know,
swarthy, you know what I'm saying? They had different features, I suppose.
listen. You don't want me to pull up some Ottoman pictures, and we'll see some historical pictures.
Yeah,
They drew themselves pale white. This
right.
is the real whitening of
Yeah,
that region of the world from the
right.
Ottoman time. Remember, the British beat the brakes off of the Ottomans, and they took over the Levant. You
Right.
know what I mean? And then they
Yes,
did that Balfour Declaration, you know, and the European Jews, you know, then twisted their arm, and then they took that land.
Ken.
So when we look at the historical, when you talk about the time spaces,
Yes, sir.
this time is very close. All this time is very, very close. You know what I'm saying? This
Yes,
time
sir.
is very close and everything. But yeah, my brother, I know we've been on for a moment, but you know, just chopping it up on a few
Yeah.
areas right
Thanks. You
here.
know what I'm saying? Yes, I give thanks for having me on, you know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I hope the people, you know, get something out of this. This wasn't our usual kind of, you know, reasoning presentation, but you know, sometimes we want to chop it up like on, you know, some special subject matters. Hopefully, if the eye has like a presentation or
Yeah.
something that I want to bring forward,
I,
you
I
know,
definitely want to dig. I want to dig into that idol. You know what I'm saying? That the
which one?
definition, what the definition of an idol. You know what I'm saying? Because what most people confuse is what an idol is. Because you know we have like American Idol and people idolize people who are famous and whatever and what have you, and you know what I'm saying, and they confuse when an idol is described. Idol is something that's made with man's hands and that is
Here,
worship.
here, let me give you this one right here. This is
That's
the
right.
bonus. I'll give you this one. So you see what I just did right here. I'm using the My Sword, this
Right.
software on the phone. You can download. It's very
Yes.
good, and you can see I already have like the Strong's words
Right.
already open.
Right.
You know, for like study, for quick
Right.
reference.
Makes ye shall make you know idols. So
I'm
you have
gonna notice what it says right here. Leviticus 19:4. It says,
right.
"Turn not to idols." Like, don't turn your face like in worship to
Yes.
idol. So,
Right.
an idol is a leal. A
Uh-huh.
leal. In Hebrew, the word for idol is a leal.
Uh-huh.
Right? Like the idols are called Elohim, Elohim,
Mm.
Elohim, and
Right.
Elohim is Elohim, and
Yes,
Elohim is
I. That's what I brought forth.
Elohim.
Yes, I. I had to distinguish the difference between an idol, but I didn't get that part. The Elil. I like
Um,
that.
um, 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 a a leal, a leal, a leal,
Elil.
a
Elil.
leal, the a
Elil.
leal. They call the
Yes.
a leal, right? Or the
Yes.
Elohim, the Elohim, the
Elohim.
Elohim, Elohim.
Elohim.
You know, not Elohim, not Elohim,
Not
but Elohim.
Elohim. Yes, I.
You know, so BDB, Browns Drivers Briggs, define them as of naught, good for nothing, worthless, and like physicians or shepherds or divination is like Elohim, right? Of false gods, it says right here, right? And here the Strongs bring it down to good for nothing,
Right.
right? Vain, vanity,
Right.
specifically an idol, right? Now the root word here is al,
Oh,
al, you know, is the word al. So
yes.
some say Allahayim. That's why I don't really, you know, rock with that. I mean, I understand it, and ones are zealous, but Hebraically it's off. Because see, al
Yeah.
right here means not.
Nothing.
Al is used in the language to say like if I say al tashchet, al
Yeah.
tashchet, don't destroy. Al
Mm.
mean like don't. It's a negative particle. Al,
Yes. Right.
right? Al means not. So when we say
Like in
Elia,
the Greek has the A, like an atheist or a
yeah, it's
yes.
similar to that. It's
It's
similar
like a
to that.
negative. It's a
So
negative.
the
It's to
alalim,
subtract.
the alalim, or if you want to say the
Right.
alalim are the idols, the alalim. So we don't deal with the alalim. And then it says, nor make to yourselves molten. Molten is
Molten.
masika.
Yes.
Masika means what? It's a pouring, a libation. It's molten metal. It's
Molten.
like a cast image.
Yes, I.
Right? It can be a drink offering because of the pouring sense. Molten gods were gods that they basically poured over. You see what it says? A
Yes, I.
fusion of metal. You know, it's almost
Yes, I.
like the quick way to make an idol back in the ancient world was to take
Mm-hmm.
wood and to carve the general shape and then
Yes.
to
And then the
pour the
pour.
metal over
Yes.
that.
Pour them. Yep. The metal.
You know, that's what it's saying right here. You know what I mean? So it's saying, it says, "For I, Yahweh, is your Elohim." So in a simple sense, an idol, according to the scripture, is something that is made.
Yes,
You
sir.
know. Now, if you want to, if you well, you said that one of the brothers don't deal with the new. He don't deal with the new covenant scripture. He's like an Old Testament only.
Yeah, he's an OT. You know,
Oh,
it's leaves a lot of candlesticks unlit. If you know what I'm saying.
okay, let's look at this right here.
Yeah.
First Samuel 15:23. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness as iniquity and idolatry. All right. So the word idolatry here is teraphim. Teraphim is an interesting word. It's idolatry, teraphim. You remember when Jacob escaped from Laban, right?
Yeah.
His white uncle. When he escaped from Laban, what did he do? His evil uncle, his wife Rachel, she stole her father's idols, and they were these teraphim.
Yes.
Teraphim. You ever see like some people have little figurines and statues
Yeah.
of their family back in Rome and in Greece and in
Mhm.
certain parts of the world? They would have these little like a family got household shrine,
Right.
like the Asians. Some Asians still do it. Like the
Right.
teraphim is said to be like a kind of a healer because of the word Rafa. But what they really were like they were small little figurines, and then there
Yeah.
were large ones. It's like a mannequin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Imagine a mannequin. David had a teraphim too, but some of the Israelites, what they did is they didn't worship this, but they put their armor on the teraphim. It's almost like you put your armor on a dummy, a mannequin, to
Yeah.
keep the armor, so you can grease and oil the armor and keep it ready. So when you have to put it on, it don't crack up. It's not all dusty and crusty. You know what I mean? You keep your
Right.
armor. Because remember when David, when his father-in-law Saul wanted to kill him, he sent men because David married Saul's daughter Micah. So
Yes.
like on their honeymoon night or one of the nights they were like, I guess in the honeymoon time, Saul got in his bipolar mentality and he sent men to kill David. And so when his wife knew it, she told David to flee. And what she did, took his teraphim, and put it in the bed, and
Yeah.
took a pillow of goat's hair and put it on there, and then covered it up and said, "Yo, he's sick." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the point I'm making right here is that the teraphim, we get a description of how it was used in David's time. Some people actually had like a life-size mannequin, like an idol, of their ancestor or somebody in their family, and they worship this. So I'm trying to
Yeah.
give the eye a
My
idea.
father was in the Yoruba, so I know all about that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
making these, it could be any size. There were small sizes, but there were also large sizes of it.
Mm.
Now, here when we get to the New Testament, notice what New Testament says right here in Colossians. It says, "Mortify therefore your members that are upon the earth: fornication, uncleanness, inordinate affection, evil, concupiscence, and covetousness, which is idolatry." Is this verse saying that covetousness, right,
Mm.
pleonexia, right, which is greed, desire to have more, covetousness, or desire to have what fraudulency, extortion, avarice? That here is saying that covetousness is idolatry. Is that telling us that covetousness is idolatry in the spiritual sense of it? Like, okay, idolatry in the
Yes.
physical old world
Right.
sense
Right.
was
Because you're
worshiping
valuing something. Yeah. You're
some
valuing.
statue,
Right.
some statue as a god or something like that.
Right.
So
Right.
today, when they idolize a person, that is, how can I say, that's the Greco-Roman way of thinking.
Okay.
Like you idolize a person. You can idolize a person today since we live in a very materialistic culture. You know what I mean? But the brother that you mentioned that he had an issue with like idols and idolatry. Briefly, what was his issue again?
So
Because
his
you
issue
mentioned,
was he viewed that the view of looking at Christ or even Haile Selassie as being, you know what I'm saying, Malak Yahweh, or, you know what I'm saying, divine, you know what I'm saying, ordained, you know, messiahs, was a form of idolatry. And I said basically that, you know, even
Wait. You mean looking at them? Not to cut you, but looking
yeah,
at them as being what do you mean divine? Because we've had messiahs. The
yes,
first Messiah in the Bible that's directly named Messiah is Aaron. Aaron is the first Messiah.
okay,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
In the Bible, you know,
right,
because it
anointed one,
says
yeah,
the anointed one. Now, it's likely that Melchizedek was anointed too.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But we don't have anything there. Like right here, we're talking about the oil, the anointing oil, right? Where
Right.
it
I
says,
more or
and
less look at at Melchizedek as being anointed by his righteousness, and by
yeah,
his
yeah,
righteous
because this is the
acts,
word
as
right
like, you know,
here.
you said, without mother, without father, without descent, and but, you know what I'm saying, through his righteousness, you know what I'm saying, he was
Well, after the order, it doesn't say that
after the order,
Yeshua
right?
is Melchizedek, but
Right.
he comes after the order of the righteous
In
king.
like manner. When it says after the order, it simply means in like manner. Am I right or wrong?
Well, in like manner, we have to touch on that one right there because it's an interesting Hebrew read, and when we get into some of the key words, like it'll bring out the sense after like the word, like a word oath. You know what I mean? After kind of a word oath in that sense, like after order, like
Mm-hmm.
we're after the royal order of the Ethiopian Hebrews. You know, like that's what
Yes,
we was
sir.
sharing a little bit early in this build right here. Okay, look at this word right here. This is where we get the first Messiah. So I look up the word anoint, right? One of the earliest places that we have anointing is where Jacob he anoints a pillar. You know what a pillar is? A matzabah. It's like a stela. He anoints a stela, right? He anoints a pillar, right?
Yes,
Now,
sir.
things that the patriarchs did were very like things that the patriarchs did, like with a pillar, right? Where Jacob he anoints a pillar and he declares that it's Yahweh, that the God of Bethel, his God, is things that later on in the Torah were forbidden. When Abraham sacrifices, it says that he had a grove, he planted a grove, right? But later on in the Torah, those things are forbidden to have a grove next to the altar of Yahweh and to have any sort of stela like it, that the Lord hates. You know what I'm saying? So I'm pointing that during the patriarchal
Yeah.
time, certain forms of worship that were permissible to the patriarchs, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, was not permissible when they came into the Torah that Moses brought. You know what I mean? So
Right.
here we get the second place we have anointing, and we have the anointing oil, right? I want to show the eye this where it says, "Thou shalt put them upon Aaron thy brother and his sons with him, and shall anoint them, right? And consecrate them, right? And sanctify them, that they may minister to me in the priest's office." Now you see the Trinity?
Yes, I.
Anoint, mashah, to
Mm-hmm.
anoint. You see it, the word to anoint means to
Mm-hmm.
anoint, to smear, to anoint, smear liquid. Now let's go down to Strong's. To rub with oil, right? To anoint. The implication they say is to consecrate, but look what it says. Also to paint. Look at that. To paint.
Anoint, to paint.
So
Hmm.
think about the paintings. That's why paintings were not considered idolatry.
Idolatry.
Somebody could have a kind of a covetous mentality, and covetousness is idolatry, the Bible says. So in that sense, it's not the painting that is bad, it's that the covetousness that's bad.
Right.
You know what I
The
mean?
value that they place upon a material thing.
You see, so where it says right here that Aaron, right, Aaron shall be anointed and his sons, and they shall be consecrated. Look at the
Right.
word. The word here is male, malah, male. Now, this is something interesting. Male means to fill, right?
Yes, I.
In the Hebrew, talk about the filling of the hands. They shall be filled, the filling of the hands. We can touch on it later on, but the consecration has to do with the filling, being
Mm-hmm.
filled, right? and they shall be sanctified. Kadash, the Kadash, right? To sanctify, to separate, to set apart. They shall be set apart. You see what it says right here? To show oneself sacred or what? Majestic.
Yes, I.
Right? So one who is set apart is like showing oneself sacred or majestic, treated with honor. You know what I mean?
Yes, I.
Now I point this out because almost the same, how can I say, the same prescription is used of a king. Talking about from the Hebrew and the Israelite teaching in the scripts. The same. So when he says, like, I get what he's saying, but there's a certain honor for, like, according to what the Torah states and bring it from Old Testament to New, there's a certain honor for kings. I could show you where
First Chronicles, where David commanded Israel to, you know what I'm saying, to bless the Lord their God, you know what I'm saying, and they blessed the Lord their God of their fathers, and they bowed and worshiped. They said that they bowed, they worshipped the God of their father and the king.
Yeah, but because that's interesting you say that, because the same word bow in Hebrew is the same word worship in Hebrew. So when you read in the scripture and it says they came into David's presence and they bowed, right? In many places it's the same word that means worship, right? Let me show this right here on the word worship, just quickly right here on the word worship. No, better yet, I will go with the word bow. Let's go with the word bow, right? That's my bow right there, right? That's the bow, and the bow in the cloud. That's going back to, and he bowed himself. Look right here. And he bowed himself. Shaha, right? Shaha means to bow down, to depress, right? To prostrate. Look what it says. It says to bow down, to prostrate oneself, to before superior in homage, before God in worship. One might do it before false gods or before an angel, right? But look what it says right here. The Strong's bringing out best, to depress, to prostrate, especially. What does it say right here? It says especially what? Reflexively in homage to royalty or God. So when it says for to bless the Lord and their king, because the king was anointed. You see what I'm saying? And the king had a duty. I mean, we can go through this. I think it's in Deuteronomy chapter, is it 18 or is it chapter 17? Roughly right around there, where it says when Israel would have a king, there were the requirements of what a king must do. And one of them was that the king must make a copy of the Torah, the Mishnah Torah. Mishnah Torah is a copy of the Torah. So the word Mishnah is Hebrew. It means like the second time or like a copy. Mishnah Torah, and he will keep it with him so that when he rules, you know what I mean, he will be able to rule, in holiness and uprightness. That would basically remind him of his duty, of his service. Yeah. I think the brother dropped off right there. But yeah, give him a moment if you come back on. Otherwise, we're going to seal this. Give thanks, brothers and sisters. But yeah, just on this word right here, the word for to bow is the same word usually is the one that chooses in some context to bring out, to bring out, what did I hear right there? Yeah, to bring out, the differences, but it's the same Hebrew word, the same Hebrew context. But yes, my brothers and sisters, right here, gonna bring this to a fulfillment right here. Yes, Rastafari, give thanks for Zion, war child right there. Zion warring right there, sharing the vibes and right here on the Monday podcast. Hopefully we'll be able to pick up, we'll see how this how the social media, especially with the StreamYard is going through some changes. So I don't know what the effect is going to be. Some people are saying that StreamYard has sold out. You know what I mean? It's obviously not under the old management. We already see some changes, on the board right here that kind of made us delay. And then we said, we're just gonna have like a vibes in with the brother, and you know what I mean. And I and brother Zion, we had some reasoning. Hopefully, we'll share some more of it on Rastafari Jews, right there. But we pick up on some more of this, and hopefully we may have a time like this where we can address some questions and answers. Like here, just once again, right here, you see down here, these are all the words after the colon, like just to show one just how to kind of like be able to utilize, the um the Strong's concordance effectively. You see everything after that colon and the hyphen, right? At the bottom there, that shows how this word has been translated, say in the King James Version. So in one place, it would be like bow oneself, or to bow down, or it could be to crouch, to fall down flat, get flat, every posse, get flat, humbly beseech, to make obeisance, that idea to do reverence. So in some places, this word do reverence, to make, to stoop. You see where to make, or worship. So if we go and look up that word, like in the KJV. Now, the reason why we use the KJV mostly and only in this kind of study is because it's only the KJV that actually, how should we say, is aligned enough with the Hebrew of the Old Testament and the Greek of the New Testament to be able to, how can you say, almost go word for word. You know what I mean? Although sometimes, like with this word for worship, right? Some places it translates as bow. It depends on the context here, right? So this here, just to show ones in Genesis, the verse that we pulled up, this is where the three men, or some people might say, the Hebrew Trinity, Hashalush Kadosh, Kedush Selassie, where these three men, visited Abraham, and that's where he gets his close encounter with Yahweh, where one of the three men, these three mortal men, this is what the text says. This is what the Hebrew text said. These three mortal men came to visit Abraham, but he recognized there's something distinct about these three men. And as the conversation goes on, it seems as though one of these three men is basically is Yahweh, right, speaking with Abraham. So it's a very interesting scene. But what's interesting, it says here that Abraham went to meet them and he bowed down himself towards the ground. As we showed you, that word bow down, shahah, which means to bow down, it also means like to worship, right? Before superior in homage, bow down to worship. It also can have the opposite, depends on what one's bow down to. You know what I mean? What one's depressed themselves, or what one's what says in homage to royalty. So the royalty, Hebraically has that honor because of the anointing and because they're ruling over Israel, right? Therefore, like what it says, like to whom more is given, more is required. So in that level right there. But it can clearly be shown in the scripture. But the translators sometimes, I'm not knocking the translators. I'm just saying that in some cases of their translation, you know what I mean? I guess they like if it says that and they worship David, then people might get the wrong idea. But the word to bow down, they bow down to David, because of that anointing of Yahweh Eloheinu that's upon David in that sense, if you understand the connection right there. So I'll pick up with the brother on that reasoning that he brought forward. I think it's an interesting reasoning, and some more to come. Yes, I, Rastafari, give thanks, brothers and sisters and brothers right here. We're going to bring this to fullness. We had a lot of board trouble. So some of what we would have prepared, some of the recordings, as well as getting into some of that was, not feasible early on, but hopefully we can, build on this kind of a platform here, and bring out some Q's and A's, some questions. If there were questions, being asked in the chat, I don't have the chat open right here. Hopefully we can kind of revisit some of these questions. And if we can keep some of the reasonings, in the Torah portion, reading and feeding. In fact, let me just do this right here. just some homework for ones and ones, so to speak, right? Let's see, where do we have the, let's see, LOJS, right? LOJS.org. There we go, right there. The weekly Torah portion, right? We're in this 40th, so ones and ones can kind of study up, you know, because ideally, you know, that would be what we should be, you know, like kind of like studying right there, and kind of keeping the reasonings as much as possible. Yeah, here we go over here. This week's Torah portion, reading and feeding. Okay, here we're at the 40th right here. And so one can see how we just went there, you know, right? So like the first reading, the second reading. So coming up for the new light, we'll be at the third day's reading, the Torah reading and feeding right here. One to one can see this right here. I don't know if we can extend the page. No. So right here, and this is the Torah reading and feeding, this portion outline. There's this free PDF one can download. It's kind of like a point of reference on what has been said concerning, you know, these Torah reading and feedings by other scholars, other, you know, Yehudi, you know, past and present, you know, just to kind of sharpen I and we can come reason on it. So here's a portion commentary here. We'll touch on this a little bit more, brothers and sisters and brothers. Here, this Torah reading and feeding right here for Balak, right? Balak, Balaam. So if you go to the page, there's some of these kind of slides right here that go into a little bit more of the, you know, of the portion, the words, you know, the meaning of some of these words right here as well. So here, yes, I, Rastafari. Yes, I. So, you know, Yeshua bless the eye and keep the eye, you know, cause his face, his grace to shine on the eye, you know. Yahweh Eloheinu, bless the eye, keep the eye, cause his face, his grace to shine on the eye, gives the eye Yeshua shalom in the hearts, in the home, you know. You bless the eye, them health, you know, the health of your family, also the wealth that you need, you know, to maintain, you know, a blessed condition. Yes, I. Rastafari, Yeshua shalom. We can rely on the conquering lion, most lighter. You're the one we can rely on. The conquering lion, most lighter. You're the one we can rely on. In a prince, in a jam, no. You know we are Israelite. Man, stand his plan. All he needs to do is follow the spirit, which is legit. That is how we'll all grow. Know him, Elohim. Man, stand his plan. All he needs to do is follow. Man, stand his plan. Man, stand his plan. Man, stand his plan. All he needs to do is follow the spirit, which is legit. That is how we'll all grow. Know him, Elohim. Yes. Shalom, Chaverim. Shalom. Yeshua shalom.